Tot, Noi Hey Lam. Elder Gu clapped his hands and cheered upon hearing this. It doesn't matter whether a cat is black or white, as long as it catches mice. These words reveal what I haven't grasped for many years. Our orthodox immortal sects should not be conservative and unwilling to change. When dealing with demonic Tao practitioners, we should use thunderous methods and show no mercy. Elder Gu is absolutely right. Elder Tianyi could only agree when he heard Elder Gu's approval. This Situ has connections with Samara Hall. I wonder if Little Lei has found any relevant information about Samara Hall? Elder Gu looked at Yang Lei, his expression extremely serious. Yang Lei knew that this matter was very serious. Samara Hall's resurgence was a grave concern, and he absolutely couldn't talk nonsense or conceal anything. However, there was one thing that made Yang Lei very conflicted, the matter of being valued by a high-ranking figure in Samara Hall. This directly concerned him and absolutely couldn't be exposed. Once revealed, who knew what they would do to him? What if they considered him a mortal enemy and wanted to deal with him? Wouldn't that be a disaster? Currently, Yang Lei wasn't confident in dealing with martial god-level experts. Moreover, if this matter spread, he might become the public enemy of all orthodox immortal sects. Wouldn't that be a death sentence? Therefore, this matter could not be revealed under any circumstances. I learned from Situ that a high-ranking figure from Samara Hall is about to appear. Yang Lei revealed. A high-ranking figure? What kind of figure? Who is he? What is his cultivation level? Will he appear in Qianyuan Kingdom? Elder Gu's heart trembled. If a high-ranking figure from Samara Hall appeared in Qianyuan Kingdom, then the situation would truly not be simple. Who that high-ranking figure is, or how strong his cultivation is, I don't know. But what's certain is that he should already be in Qianyuan Kingdom, Yang Lei said. Furthermore, as far as I know, Situ was merely an outer member and didn't know much. And the entire Black Tiger Mountain is just an outer organization of Samara Hall. There must be quite a few similar organizations. Elder Gu couldn't help but gasp. The entire Black Tiger Mountain was just a small outer organization of Samara Hall. This shocked Elder Gu immensely. Although Black Tiger Mountain couldn't compare to a great immortal sect like Xuanji sect, it was considered a very decent organization in the mortal world. Even a martial god would have to reconsider their strength if they wanted to target Black Tiger Mountain. This suggested that Samara Hall had unknowingly developed to a terrifying extent. Regarding that high-ranking figure, what I saw in Situ's eyes was someone untouchable, like a heavenly god, so powerful that it instilled fear. What Yang Lei said was indeed true. Although Situ had never met that high-ranking figure, he held him in extreme awe. How did you know all this? Elder Gu frowned, somewhat suspicious of how clearly Yang Lei knew these things. Yang Lei wasn't angry, Elder Gu's suspicion was normal. So he looked at Elder Gu and said, actually, to be honest with everyone, Situ once tried to recruit me, wanting me to join Samara Hall and become one of Samara Hall's inside agents within Xuanji sect. Elder Gu and Elder Tianyi were both shaken. These words sent shockwaves through their hearts. If the previous words were a level 7 earthquake, then this was definitely a level 12 earthquake. One of the inside agents in Xuanji sect? You mean, our Xuanji sect has long been infiltrated by Samara Hall spies? Elder Gu took a deep breath, looking at Yang Lei. Yang Lei said, whether it's truly so, I'm not very clear, but from Situ's tone, it seemed to be the case. In reality, Situ hadn't given Yang Lei much information, but it wasn't hard to infer from his words. If what you say is true, then my Xuanji sect is in danger, and our immortal Tao is in danger. Elder Gu said worriedly. Elder Gu. There's no need to be so pessimistic. I don't think things are that bad, Elder Tianyi said at this moment. I hope so. Even Elder Gu couldn't believe his own words. Xuanji sect already had inside agents, and after so many years, not a single piece of information had been leaked. This meant that Samara Hall was no longer the Samara Hall of 5,000 years ago, which only used brute force to achieve its goals. Instead, it had learned to use schemes and tricks. Due to the Samara Hall matter, Elder Gu had no choice but to return to Xuanji sect early. Gu Jing naturally returned with him, and Yang Qingshui also went to Xuanji sect early. Yang Lei, however, had some unfinished business, so he planned to wait another month and go to Xuanji sect with the others. This was already the third day. The day before, Yang Lei was once again ambushed. It was a Marshal Saint late-stage assassin from Heavenly Star Tower, who contributed 700 million experience points and 7 million points to Yang Lei. In addition, Yang Lei also received a set of shadowless needles. These shadowless needles were hidden weapons that could kill invisibly, making them perfect for sneak attacks. This Heavenly Star Tower was like a lingering spirit, truly infuriating Yang Lei. Moreover, the system also had a quest to replace Heavenly Star Tower. As such, he and Heavenly Star Tower had become mortal enemies. However, replacing Heavenly Star Tower was not an easy task. The Soul Clan was Yang Lei's foundational strength. If he could cultivate the Soul Clan, replacing Heavenly Star Tower might not be impossible. The day before, Yang Lei once again visited the Soul Clan. Today, there were about 100 members in the Soul Clan, all cultivating the soul-refining secret art he had given them. The effects were very obvious, they had all broken through their previous levels. The number of Martial Saints had increased from 2 to 5, and Soul Flash had even reached the Martial Saint late stage. Such a cultivation speed was truly astonishing. This was the potential of the Soul Clan. Yang Lei intended to let the Soul Clan form an assassination organization to replace Heavenly Star Tower. Naturally, he needed to exchange for some items, cultivation techniques, and martial skills, which were all indispensable. He opened the system to check the items available for exchange. Today, Yang Lei's points had reached 37 million, which was considered quite a fortune. For the path of assassination, the stealth technique was indispensable, but the stealth technique he had acquired might not be suitable for the Soul Clan, which somewhat frustrated Yang Lei. However, among the cultivation techniques and martial skills available for exchange, none seemed particularly suitable for the Soul Clan. Helpless, Yang Lei had no choice but to open the personal subordinate force system. Upon checking, this system clearly showed another option. The faith system was a new system derived from the force system. Yang Lei checked it and found that this faith system included his subordinates, among them the Soul Clan and Vaisujan and the others. Similar to the loyalty system, the faith system also had a faith value. Each person's faith points were different. This faith system not only had faith points but also the power of faith. The more people who had faith, the stronger the power of faith. However, this faith system was still incomplete, making Yang Lei feel that it was very vague. How exactly were faith points generated, and what special effects did they have? And what was the power of faith ultimately used for? What was the difference between faith points and the power of faith? These questions made Yang Lei feel very unclear, and the system didn't provide a definitive explanation. Currently, Yang Lei himself possessed 3,000 faith points, and the power of faith had reached 15,000. Ding, does the player wish to open the faith point exchange option? Faith point exchange option? Yang Lei was slightly stunned. Why was there a faith point exchange option now? What was going on? Ding, does the player wish to open the faith point exchange option? The system prompt sounded again. Open. Ding, congratulations to the player for opening the faith point exchange option. You can use faith points to exchange for corresponding items. Yang Lei was a bit speechless about this. The faith point exchange system and the regular exchange system basically didn't have much difference. Wasn't this just making things more complicated? Upon closer inspection, it turned out that this faith point exchange system was actually just an option within the previous exchange system. These points and faith points were almost like two different currencies, but the items that could be bought with the two currencies were different. When Yang Lei opened the faith point exchange option, he found that there were no items inside, only a blank page. Upon closer inspection, he discovered that the items exchanged with faith points could be generated according to the player's needs. This made Yang Lei overjoyed. There were many items that could be exchanged in the regular exchange system, but they weren't necessarily what he needed. For example, Yang Lei now needed some cultivation techniques and martial skills suitable for the Soul Clan, but he couldn't find any in the regular exchange system. Wouldn't this faith point exchange option perfectly solve this problem for him? However, the only regret was that items exchanged with faith points could only be used by the people who generated those faith points. In other words, only his subordinates could use them, but he could not. Please input the information of the items needed for exchange. Cultivation techniques and martial skills for the Soul Clan related to assassination and stealth. Yang Lei inputted these items without hesitation. These were what Yang Lei needed most at the moment. Player, please wait. The system is generating. A few minutes later, the system's voice sounded again. Ding, generation complete. Player can view it themselves. Yang Lei eagerly opened the generated items. Based on Yang Lei's previous request, 2 types of martial skills were generated. One was the soul kill technique, used for assassination, and the other was the soul concealment technique, presumably for stealth and escape. The two complemented each other and were very suitable. Perhaps the soul concealment technique was similar to his stealth technique, while the soul kill technique was an assassination art. Both were secret arts of the Soul Clan, and only members of the Soul Clan could cultivate them. However, these 2 secret arts required a considerable amount of faith points. The soul kill technique required 3,000 faith points, and although the soul concealment technique required less, it still needed 1,500 faith points. Currently, he only had a total of 3,000 faith points, which was not enough to exchange for both secret arts. Yang Lei was in a predicament. How exactly could he obtain faith points? If there was no way to increase faith points, wouldn't that be bad? He simply couldn't exchange for both items. Since he couldn't exchange for all of them, Yang Lei was quite helpless. Exchanging for one type would also be fine, so which one should he exchange for now? Should he exchange for the soul kill technique? Or the soul concealment technique? The soul kill technique was for killing, and its power was very strong. The soul concealment technique could allow people to go stealth, making it difficult for enemies to detect their movements. Both had their own strengths. After some thought, Yang Lei still chose to exchange for the soul concealment technique. Logically speaking, the soul concealment technique was less practical than the soul kill technique, but because the soul concealment technique only cost 1,500 faith points, while the soul kill technique required 3,000 faith points, and he only had a total of 3,000 faith points, if he used all of them, and then urgently needed something that wasn't available in the regular exchange system, it would be troublesome. These 1,500 faith points were reserved for any unexpected situations. Ding, does the player wish to consume 1,500 faith points to exchange for the soul concealment technique? Exchange. Ding, congratulations to the player for obtaining the soul concealment technique. 1,500 faith points consumed, 1,500 faith points remaining available. For a short period, Yang Lei didn't need to use the remaining 1,500 faith points for anything. After all, the faith point exchange system was different from the points in the regular exchange system. These were automatically generated and then exchanged, while the points in the regular exchange system were generated only through effort. Exiting the faith point exchange option, Yang Lei opened the quest system. Today, apart from the main quest and side quests, there were no other quests. Should he exchange for a quest card to try it out? Challenge quest card. Yang Lei remembered that he still had the poisonous blight bloodsucking bats challenge quest card. Now that he had obtained the Sound Blast talisman, completing this poisonous blight bloodsucking bats challenge quest shouldn't be a problem. So, he would try the challenge quest now. He opened the challenge quest option, and the poisonous blight bloodsucking bats quest card appeared before his eyes. Ding, does the player wish to open the poisonous blight bloodsucking bats challenge quest? Open. Ding, player has opened the bat challenge quest. Quest objective, kill 10,000 level 6 poisonous blight bloodsucking bats. Time limit, none. Upon hearing the system's prompt, Yang Lei appeared in a dim space, filled with oppressive atmosphere. Immediately after, he saw a dense mass in the distance. Poisonous blight bloodsucking bats. That large area was filled with poisonous blight bloodsucking bats. So many of them made Yang Lei's scalp tingle. Talisman, Sound Blast talisman. Just as Yang Lei watched the bats approaching him, he immediately crushed the Sound Blast talisman. This Sound Blast talisman was a large-scale damage talisman with very strong power. The moment Yang Lei crushed the talisman, waves of sound burst forth from the crushed talisman in his hand, spreading everywhere like massive ripples. The bats caught by the ripples fell one after another, like rain. In just a short moment, several thousand of these 10,000 poisonous blight bloodsucking bats had been killed, and the process continued. 10 minutes passed, and the effect of the Sound Blast talisman finally disappeared. Most of these poisonous blight bloodsucking bats had been killed, and only a few hundred remained swirling around. However, these remaining poisonous blight bloodsucking bats were also heavily injured, and their combat power was greatly reduced. Lion's roar. Roar. Yang Lei let out a long roar, and a huge lion's roar head appeared, immediately causing hundreds more bats to fall. Now, only a few dozen remained. Taking an origin-restoring pill, Yang Lei once again used the lion's roar. The remaining few dozen poisonous blight bloodsucking bats were mostly killed. Now, only a few remained. These few remaining poisonous blight bloodsucking bats had much larger heads than the others. Yang Lei frowned. Evidently, these few poisonous blight bloodsucking bats had much stronger abilities than the previous ordinary bats. Even with one sound blast talisman and his 2 uses of the lion's roar, they hadn't died, which showed that these bats' strength was far superior to the ordinary ones. He threw an appraisal technique. Yang Lei couldn't help but rub his eyes in surprise. These were clearly all level 7 Bat Kings. Yang Lei was puzzled. Didn't this challenge quest card say that killing 10,000 level 6 poisonous blight bloodsucking bats would complete the quest? But now level 7 Bat Kings had appeared, which made him furious. However, since they had appeared, he still had to kill them. There was no other way, the system was the boss. 7 poisonous blight bloodsucking Bat Kings. Just as Yang Lei was thinking, the 7 Bat Kings rushed towards Yang Lei, each like a bomber, diving down one after another. The first one was sent flying by Yang Lei's punch. Today, Yang Lei's cultivation was Martial Emperor Stage 2, coupled with his cultivation of Ironcloth Shirt Volume 3, making him impervious to weapons. His strength was astonishing. This punch sent the Bat King reeling, immediately stunning it. Punch after punch, 3 Bat Kings were sent flying. This feeling reminded Yang Lei of a small game from his childhood on Earth, swatting bees. All 7 poisonous blight bloodsucking Bat Kings were sent flying by Yang Lei, and he was still not satisfied. Ding! Congratulations to the player for killing 10,000 poisonous blight bloodsucking bats. Successfully completed the poisonous blight bloodsucking bats challenge quest. Time taken, 1 hour 32 minutes. Completion rate, perfect. Ding! Congratulations to the player for obtaining a level up card, 1 billion experience points, 10 million chi value, and 10 million points. Ding! Congratulations to the player for leveling up, entering Martial Emperor Stage 3. Surprise, yes, it was surprise. Yang Lei originally remembered that the reward for this challenge quest card should have been only 1 million points. Today, it was multiplied by 10, reaching 10 million, so how could Yang Lei not be surprised? Upon checking, he realized that the 1 million points was the minimum limit, the reward for the lowest completion rate. Since his completion rate was perfect, his points reached 10 million. 10 million points was a significant amount for Yang Lei. Today, his total points had reached over 40 million. He was still short of over 50 million points to reach the next system upgrade threshold of 100 million. If he could get a few more challenge quest cards, wouldn't it be easy to reach 100 million and upgrade the system again? Moreover, the experience points for this challenge quest were too high, suddenly 100 million experience points. This was easier than killing a Martial Saint Great Perfection expert. He checked the quest system. The 3 types of quest cards were still the same, 1 was a normal quest card, 2 were scenario quest cards, and 3 were challenge quest cards. And the system also had new rules. The 3 types of quest cards refresh once a month. That is, only 1 normal quest card, 1 challenge quest card, and 1 scenario quest card can be exchanged each month. However, the points required to exchange for these 3 types of quest cards are no longer fixed and will vary depending on different situations. In other words, the points needed for quest cards each month are different. Among the 3 types of quest cards, normal quest cards require the least points, though there may be exceptions. Refreshing once a month made Yang Lei want to cry without tears. If he had known earlier, he should have exchanged for more cards before, and it wouldn't be like this now. However, he quickly calmed down, thinking that his points were not enough earlier anyway. Today, Yang Lei could still exchange for 3 quest cards, 1 of each type. He also had a scenario quest card that he hadn't used yet. The difficulty of these quest cards was divided into normal easy, normal medium, and difficult. The points required for the 3 difficulties were also different. For normal quest cards, the 3 difficulties required 10,000, 100,000, and 1 million points. For challenge quest cards, the 3 difficulties were 20,000, 200,000, and 2 million points, respectively. Scenario quest cards required a bit more points, normal difficulty needed 50,000 points, medium needed 500,000, and difficult scenario quest cards needed 5 million points. What made Yang Lei somewhat hesitant was that these quest cards did not show the specific quest content, it would only be revealed after exchange. This left Yang Lei a bit uncertain. Because the difficulties of these quest cards were all different, if it was too difficult, he wouldn't be able to complete it, which would be a pity. It was already the end of the month, with only a few days until a new month, so it was better to exchange for these quest cards. However, the dilemma was, what difficulty should he exchange for? For normal quest cards, Yang Lei thought about exchanging for a normal difficulty one. He had tried normal difficulty before, but he didn't dare to consider difficult. This normal quest card might be like the previous gold-ranked assassin quest, which could endanger his life. If the difficulty was too high, he might lose his small life. So, it was better to be cautious with this type of normal quest card. He exchanged for a normal quest card of medium difficulty. Ding! Congratulations to the player for obtaining a normal quest card, medium difficulty. Consuming 100,000 points was nothing to Yang Lei. With over 40 million points today, deducting 100,000 was no heartache at all. For the challenge quest card, the poisonous blight bloodsucking bats challenge quest was of medium difficulty. However, that was because he was lucky enough to get the Sound Blast talisman. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to complete it. From this, it could be seen that the difficulty of challenge quest cards was still quite high. If he didn't have such good luck, being able to complete an easy difficulty one would already be pretty good. After thinking, Yang Lei gritted his teeth and still exchanged for a medium difficulty challenge quest card. Ding! Congratulations to the player for obtaining a medium difficulty challenge quest card. Adding the previous normal quest card, these two quest cards consumed 300,000 points. Finally, it was the scenario quest card. The rewards for scenario quest cards should be very rich, because this type of quest card allows players to directly enter a scenario quest, and they can also receive quests within the scenario. The rewards obtained inside can also be taken out, and killing monsters within the scenario also yields rewards. After thinking, he already had one scenario quest card that he hadn't used yet, which was an easy difficulty scenario quest card. Considering this, he should now exchange for a medium difficulty one. As for difficult, that was out of the question. If he failed to complete it, the punishment would be very severe. He might even get the quest system cancelled, which would be a huge misfortune. Ding! Congratulations to the player for obtaining a medium difficulty scenario quest card. Exchanging for 3 medium difficulty quest cards consumed 800,000 points. 3 quest cards. Should he open that normal quest card? This normal quest card didn't specify what the quest was. Once opened, it would randomly select a quest. As for the challenge quest card, it was to kill 1000 Martial Emperor level Iron-backed Lion. The Iron-backed Lion had very strong defenses. 1000 of them would be a terrifying force. These Iron-backed Lion were a type of demon beast with very strong unity consciousness. If 1000 Martial Emperor level Iron-backed Lion went berserk, even a martial god would have to avoid their sharp edge. Therefore, seeing this quest, Yang Lei forced a bitter smile. In a short time, he wouldn't be able to complete this quest. And the medium scenario quest card was different from the special scenario quest card he had obtained before. That one was a special scenario quest card, while this one was not. The former allowed him to choose the content before entering, while the latter did not, and he wouldn't know the specific quest content until he entered the quest. As for the previous special scenario quest card, Yang Lei hadn't decided which content to enter yet. Moreover, he didn't have much time now. He would probably have to wait until he reached Xuanji sect to enter the scenario quest card. Drunken Immortal Pavilion. Yang Lei hadn't been to Drunken Immortal Pavilion for a while. He should have gone to Big Orange Village to give soul concealment technique to Soul Yu, but he didn't need to go himself, he could just use a communication talisman to have Soul Yu come to him. While drinking, he thought about things. He remembered how he was humiliated by Wang Kuei before, utterly powerless to resist. But today, Wang Kuei was nothing in his eyes. He wondered how little Yu was doing. Dongfang Xiaowu should be taking care of her. In about a month, he would be able to go to Xuanji sect to find her. Young master. Young master, it wasn't easy for this old drunkard San to find you. An old man appeared before Yang Lei. This person was none other than the old drunkard who had disappeared months ago. Old drunkard San. Seeing his appearance, Yang Lei was somewhat surprised. He had regretted coercing a martial god-level follower before. It's you. Did you find the 1000-year red lotus seed? Yang Lei asked. The 1,000-year red lotus seed was just a joke Yang Lei made, but the 1,000-year red lotus seed was indeed very useful to him, though not for making drunken life, dream death wine. Fortunately, I did not fail my mission. This old drunkard San exhausted all his difficulties and finally obtained a 1,000-year red lotus seed. Old drunkard San chuckled. Yang Lei's eyes widened. This old man actually got a 1,000-year red lotus seed? That was truly astonishing. A 1,000-year red lotus seed was incredibly precious, its rarity not inferior to immortal artifacts. Old drunkard San actually managed to get one, which showed that this old drunkard's background was not simple. Old drunkard San held out his right hand, and a jade box appeared in his palm. Then he looked at Yang Lei and said, "Young master, the 1,000-year red lotus seed is inside. However, this is not the place to talk. Should we find a quiet place?" Yang Lei nodded, not worried that old drunkard San would harm him. Given his cultivation, if he truly wanted to harm him, he could have taken his small life the first time they met. The two were about to stand up when they saw Solyu appearing on the stairs. Yang Lei paused and said to old drunkard San, "You wait here for a moment. I have something to take care of." After speaking, Yang Lei walked towards Solyu. "Young master." Yang Lei nodded, then took out the soul concealment technique secret art and handed it to Solyu, saying, "Keep this safe. This is a secret art suitable for your soul clan to cultivate. I obtained it with great difficulty. Take it back and let your clansmen cultivate it diligently. Don't slack off. A month later, I will go to Big Orange Village to find you and check on your cultivation. If you do well, I might give you another secret technique." "Young master." Solyu was extremely excited. He had thought Yang Lei called him over for something to instruct, but he didn't expect to be given a cultivation technique. He felt guilty for his own thoughts. "Alright, no need to say more. I have other matters. You go first," Yang Lei said. "Young master, don't worry, we won't let you down." After speaking, Solyu turned and went downstairs. After Solyu left, Yang Lei walked over to old drunkard San and looked at him, saying, "Let's go." Old drunkard San was startled to see Solyu. He hadn't expected Yang Lei to know such a person, but he didn't say much. "Let's go," Yang Lei said. Old drunkard San nodded slightly and followed behind Yang Lei. A few minutes later, Yang Lei led old drunkard San to his courtyard. Today, the Xixing residence had been completely renovated and refurbished, appearing even more beautiful than before. 9 Extreme Profound Lightning Array Formation? Seeing the layout of the small courtyard, old drunkard San's eyes widened. He had never imagined that such a small courtyard would actually have such a high-level array formation. No, this is not the true 9 Extreme Profound Lightning Array. This is a simplified version of the 9 Extreme Profound Lightning Array. Old drunkard San was startled, and at the same time, Yang Lei was equally surprised. He hadn't expected old drunkard San to actually be able to recognize this profound lightning array, and even know that it wasn't the complete 9 Extreme Profound Lightning Array, but a simplified version. Good eyesight. Young master, you flatter me. This old drunkard San merely recognized it. If you were to ask this old drunkard San to set it up, I definitely couldn't, old drunkard San chuckled. However, young master's array formation still has flaws. If it were improved a bit, its power would increase significantly. Oh. Yang Lei looked at him in surprise. How should it be improved? If its power could be increased further, wouldn't it be able to block martial god-level experts? Then Xixing residents would be worry-free. Reverse deployment. Reverse deployment? Upside down 9 Extreme? To become the upside down 9 Extreme Profound Lightning Array? A flash of inspiration appeared in Yang Lei's mind, and he blurted out. Ding, congratulations to the player for comprehending the upside down 9 Extreme Profound Lightning Array. 1 yin and 1 yang, 1 positive and 1 negative. If this 9 Extreme Profound Lightning Array was combined with the upside down 9 Extreme Profound Lightning Array, its power would not be a simple 1 plus 1. However, combining two array formations was not an easy task, at least, he didn't yet have the ability to set it up. Young master is truly intelligent. That's right, the power of this upside down 9 Extreme Profound Lightning Array is a step stronger than the 9 Extreme Profound Lightning Array. Ordinary people simply cannot discern the secrets of the upside down 9 Extreme Profound Lightning Array. If young master can set up the upside down 9 Extreme Profound Lightning Array, there will be very few people in Chanyuan Kingdom, no more than 10, who can break this array formation, Old Drunkard San said. Yang Lei smiled. Old Drunkard San, you are so clear about this 9 extreme profound lightning array, so you should be able to enter. After saying that, Yang Lei strode forward, ignoring Old Drunkard San, and entered the small courtyard. Old Drunkard San forced a bitter smile upon hearing this. This young master was actually teasing him. He shook his head helplessly. Yang Lei did this because he wanted to see what level Old Drunkard San had reached, whether he could enter the small courtyard without any damage and without destroying the array formation he had set up. But to Yang Lei's surprise, Old Drunkard San actually led the way into the small courtyard. How did you get in? Yang Lei couldn't believe it. Old Drunkard San had actually entered the courtyard in an instant, and he hadn't felt anything. One must know that he had set up this 9 extreme profound lightning array and incorporated a trace of his spiritual power into it. Without his spiritual power's identification, it was impossible to enter this 9 extreme profound lightning array without a sound, not even a martial god. Old Drunkard San's cultivation was too terrifying. If Old Drunkard San wanted to kill him, even a true 9 extreme profound lightning array that he set up might not be able to stop him. It was too terrifying. Young master, isn't this Old Drunkard San's move quite good? Old Drunkard San chuckled, looking at Yang Lei. Yang Lei took a deep breath, looking at him, and said, Tell me, how did you do it? Why didn't I sense anything? Power of law. Power of law? What is the power of law? Yang Lei asked, full of doubt. To Yang Lei, this was an unfamiliar concept. Since entering this world, he had never heard of the power of law. Old Drunkard San chuckled and said, The power of law is a set of rules that exist within heaven and earth. This power of law is not something ordinary people can comprehend. Those who can comprehend the power of law are truly geniuses in the truest sense. Even a martial god may not necessarily be able to do it. And to break through martial god and enter a higher realm, one must comprehend the power of law. Comprehending the power of law is extremely difficult. In young master's current situation, comprehending the power of law is unlikely, so I suggest young master still focus on cultivating diligently and not think about these things, Old Drunkard San added. Perhaps one day, when young master's realm arrives, this power of law will naturally be comprehended. Since this power of law was so difficult to comprehend, even with his all-powerful cultivation system, comprehending the power of law might not be an easy task. At least for now, it was impossible, so he stopped dwelling on it. Young master, you're back. And this senior is? Hearing the voice, Xiaozhu and Chen Lan quickly ran out. Seeing an old man standing beside Yang Lei, they asked. Call me Old Drunkard, or Old Drunkard San, or even Old Drunkard. Any is fine, Old Drunkard San said. Old Drunkard San was also called the Old Drunkard. His real name was Lin Bai. Because he was the third, and loved drinking, he was called Old Drunkard San. At this moment, Yang Lei just remembered that he didn't know the Old Drunkard's real name. He couldn't help but ask, Old Drunkard, what is your name? You said you wanted to be my follower. I can't be a young master who doesn't even know the name of his own follower, can I? The Old Drunkard patted his head and said, Look at me, I even forgot to tell young master my name. The Old Drunkard's real name is Lin Bai. Young master can call me whatever you wish, but most people call me the Old Drunkard or Old Drunkard San. Lin Bai is truly the least used name. Then I'll call you Elder Lin from now on, Yang Lei said. How can that be? No, young master, how can you call me that? Wouldn't that be shortening my lifespan? Calling me Old Drunkard is fine, but Elder Lin, absolutely not. The Old Drunkard waved his hands repeatedly and shook his head. Yang Lei smiled upon hearing this, looked at him, and said, Since you call me young master, what I say goes. If you don't agree, then you can go make the drunken life, dream death wine yourself. I won't let you drink it. The Old Drunkard's face twisted in pain. After hesitating, he said, All right, Elder Lin it is. To the Old Drunkard, the drunken life, dream death wine was his threat. Good wine was the most important thing in the Old Drunkard's life. If there was no good wine, then living would be meaningless. You can also call him Elder Lin. Elder Lin is a martial god expert. If you have anything you don't understand, you can ask him, Yang Lei said to Xiaozhu and the girls. Elder Lin is a martial god level expert? Xiaozhu, Chen Lan, and the other girls' eyes widened, shocked. A martial god-level expert actually called Yang Lei young master. It was truly incredible. In their eyes, martial gods were all high and mighty, unapproachable, like heavenly gods. Even the emperor of Qianyuan Kingdom had to bow and scrape, but they never expected that the high and mighty martial god would actually appear before their eyes and call Yang Lei young master. A genuine martial god realm expert, Yang Lei said with a smile. The old drunkard had previously said that even martial god-level experts might not necessarily comprehend the power of law, and the old drunkard was clearly able to use it freely. This meant that the old drunkard's cultivation likely surpassed the martial god realm. Calling him a martial god-level expert was still understating it. Elder Lin, the three girls respectfully called out. 3 young madams? How can that be? That would be too much for this old drunkard. Yang Lei's forehead was covered in black lines, and the 3 girls' faces flushed red. No, we are young master's maids, Xiaozhu quickly said. That's right, sooner or later you'll become young madams anyway, the old drunkard chuckled, then took out 3 items, a necklace, a choker, and a pair of earrings. Come, consider these a meeting gift from this old drunkard. Take them all. The old drunkard handed the 3 items to the girls. Yang Lei couldn't help but use his appraisal technique. The result surprised Yang Lei. These 3 items were not ordinary. They were all supreme-grade spirit artifacts. These were all defensive supreme-grade spirit artifacts that could also aid in cultivation and prevent the invasion of inner demons. A grand gesture, this was truly a grand gesture. These supreme-grade spirit artifacts were even better than the supreme-grade spirit artifacts he had obtained during the family trials before, almost comparable to half-divine artifacts. This. The 3 girls looked at the items in the old drunkard's hands, their eyes full of stars, loving them immensely. However, they didn't dare to take them without Yang Lei's word. All of them looked towards Yang Lei. Since Elder Lin gave them to you, then take them, Yang Lei said. Upon hearing Yang Lei's words, the 3 girls joyfully accepted them. Thank you, Elder Lin. After taking them, the 3 girls expressed their gratitude. No need to thank me, no need to thank me. Just a few trinkets, the old drunkard chuckled, looking at the 3 girls. Yang Lei was no longer overly surprised by the old drunkard's grand gesture. He had already casually given him 2 divine artifacts before, and he could even obtain a 1,000-year red lotus seed. So, 3 supreme-grade spirit artifacts were nothing. At that moment, Duan Rong also walked out. Seeing the old drunkard, she was startled. She couldn't discern any cultivation from the old man standing beside Yang Lei. He seemed just like an ordinary person. Yang Lei, who is this senior? Although Duan Rong was surprised, she didn't show it on her face. Meanwhile, the old drunkard's gaze was like lightning. Duan Rong's subtle changes were all caught in his eyes. What surprised him was that this girl had a dense aura of luck and an exceedingly noble appearance. You can call him Elder Lin, Yang Lei said. Elder Lin, I am Yang Lei's future woman. You can call me Duan Rong generously saluted. Young madam. The old drunkard was surprised, but upon hearing Duan Rong's words, he quickly composed himself. Who was Yang Lei? Since Duan Rong said she was Yang Lei's woman, it wasn't strange. Cough, Elder Lin, she's not my woman yet, Yang Lei coughed, joking. He hadn't done anything, and she was already his woman? Even if there was a preordained fate from the karmic stone, he couldn't just address her like that now. Heaven's will, it's only a matter of time, Duan Rong gave Yang Lei a charming glare. Young. The old drunkard was about to speak but was glared at by Yang Lei, so he quickly corrected himself. Miss Duan, this is an item for you. Take it. It's a meeting gift from this old drunkard. The old drunkard once again took out an item, a translucent purple flower. This flower was no ordinary item, Duan Rong recognized it at a glance. Yang Lei was also surprised. This flower was a treasure, even more precious than the previous 3 items. Although it hadn't reached the divine artifact level, it was not far off. This was a water immortal flower, but not a true water immortal flower. It was a supreme-grade spirit artifact refined from one, named Purple Water Immortal. Purple Water Immortal, supreme-grade spirit artifact, can transform into a water immortal barrier to protect its owner, capable of blocking a full-force attack from a martial god realm martial artist. It can also transform into petals to attack, with astonishing power, equivalent to a full-force attack from an early-stage martial god expert. Cooldown time, 10 days. Abnormal, this was absolutely an abnormal attribute. Although the cooldown time was 10 days, Yang Lei clearly understood that this was because the purple water immortal consumed an enormous amount of energy. This purple water immortal could almost be called a divine artifact. Elder Lin, this is too precious. I cannot accept it. Although Duan Rong wanted it very much, she still shook her head. Indeed, this purple water immortal was equivalent to a divine artifact. How could she accept such a valuable item? You take it, Yang Lei said to Duan Rong at this moment. Thank you, Elder Lin. In the end, Duan Rong still reached out and took it, fondling it with adoration. After the 4 girls left, Yang Lei led the old drunkard to the study. He immediately set up an array formation. Elder Lin, did you really find the 1,000-year red lotus seed? Yang Lei looked at the old drunkard and said, You're not lying to me, are you? A 1,000-year red lotus seed was very hard to come by, and Yang Lei still couldn't quite believe it. The old drunkard smiled and held the jade box out to Yang Lei, saying, Young master will know once he opens it. Yang Lei took the jade box and slowly opened it. A rich spiritual energy rushed forth, refreshing him. He sent an appraisal technique towards it. Ding, appraisal failed. Proficiency increased. It actually failed to appraise. Yang Lei quickly closed the jade box. Since it failed to appraise, it meant that this item definitely wasn't fake. Even if it wasn't a genuine 1,000-year red lotus seed, it wouldn't be far off. One must know that his appraisal technique was already high level. It could be said that Yang Lei had 90% certainty that this was a genuine 1,000-year red lotus seed. His heart was somewhat excited. With this 1,000-year red lotus seed, he could prepare to refine a type of elixir. Of course, he could also cultivate this 1,000-year red lotus seed into a karma fire red lotus, but cultivating it into a karma fire red lotus was not an easy task. That was just information Yang Lei had seen in an ancient book. Whether it could truly be cultivated into a karma fire red lotus, Yang Lei had no certainty at all. However, whether it was for refining elixirs or for cultivating a karma fire red lotus, it wasn't something Yang Lei could do now. After all, Yang Lei's current cultivation was too weak. Young master should be able to tell if it's real or not, right? The old drunkard chuckled, looking at Yang Lei. Yes, this is a real 1,000-year red lotus seed. Such a precious item, you actually managed to get it. I'm very curious, who exactly are you? Yang Lei looked at the old drunkard. Why exactly are you approaching me? The old drunkard looked at Yang Lei and said, What could I be after? Just to be able to drink that peerless fine wine, that's all. This old drunkard loves wine like his life, everyone who knows me knows this. So young master, rest assured, this old drunkard will absolutely not harm you. For that drunken life, dream death wine, I have gone through countless hardships. Now that I've finally obtained the 1,000-year red lotus seed, I think young master can make the drunken life, dream death wine now, right? This old drunkard is eager to taste it. In fact, the old drunkard knew very well that refining drunken life, dream death wine basically didn't require a 1,000-year red lotus seed. However, because of Yang Lei's identity, and since Yang Lei wanted this 1,000-year red lotus seed, the old drunkard took this opportunity to give the 1,000-year red lotus seed to Yang Lei. This was just a flimsy excuse. Alright, drunken life, dream death wine. You wait 2 days. In 2 days, I will definitely give you 2 jars of drunken life, dream death wine. This is my maximum limit. 2 jars. This is truly too good. As soon as he heard Yang Lei say that he could give him 2 jars of drunken life, dream death wine in 2 days, the old drunkard's saliva almost drooled out. Although he knew that making drunken life, dream death wine probably didn't require a 1,000-year red lotus seed, he never expected that he would soon be able to drink that unparalleled fine wine. Actually, I lied to you before. Making drunken life, dream death wine doesn't require a 1,000-year red lotus seed, but it does consume spirit stones. He had told many lies, so what if he lied one more time? This was just a white lie. Yang Lei found an excuse for his lie. In fact, he could exchange for this drunken life, dream death wine at any time. However, the last time he met the old drunkard, he genuinely couldn't obtain it. But now it was different, he had over 40 million points. Let alone exchanging for 1 jar of drunken life, dream death wine, even exchanging for 10 jars wouldn't be a problem. I know, the old drunkard smiled, not surprised. But what does it matter? That drunken life, dream death wine is so precious. It's the best wine this old drunkard has ever tasted in his life. I'm afraid even immortals drinking jade nectar and ambrosia wouldn't be better than this. For an old drunkard like me, nothing compares to good wine. If I could drink such fine wine every day, let alone 1,000-year red lotus seed, even 10 wouldn't be too expensive. Yang Lei was speechless upon hearing this. This was truly an old drunkard, loving wine like his life. Elder Lin, what are your plans for the future? Naturally, I will follow young master's side, because only by following young master can I drink fine wine, the old drunkard said. After arranging a small courtyard for the old drunkard through Xiaozhu, Yang Lei returned to his own courtyard. Drunken life, dream death wine, this also needed to be exchanged. Upon checking, drunken life, dream death wine. The points required for this drunken life, dream death wine were originally 350,000, but now it had become 1 million, more than doubled. Ding, does the player wish to exchange for drunken life, dream death wine? Exchange. Ding, congratulations to the player for obtaining 2 jars of drunken life, dream death wine. Exchanging for 2 jars of drunken life, dream death wine cost a total of 2 million points. However, for Yang Lei now, it was nothing. Only 2 million points. He had 47 million, so after consuming 2 million, he still had 45 million points remaining. Young master, this is bad, something terrible has happened. As soon as Yang Lei walked out of his small courtyard, he saw Xiaozhu rushing over in a hurry, almost tripping. Yang Lei supported her, preventing her from falling. Be careful, don't rush so much. After supporting Xiaozhu, Yang Lei let go of her hand, scolding her slightly. What's the rush? Did the sky fall? The Yan Mountain demon beasts have rampaged. Xiaozhu said urgently. Yang Lei was stunned. The Yan Mountain demon beasts rampaged. What did that have to do with him? A rampage was a rampage, it wasn't the first time it had happened. It seemed that demon beast rampages occurred annually. Is that all? You don't need to be so flustered. Don't the Yan Mountain demon beasts rampage every year? But this time it's different. This time, there's a large-scale demon beast attack on our Chanyuan kingdom. The emperor has already summoned the experts of the 4 great clans to discuss countermeasures. Just now, old Master Yang sent someone to ask young master to come to the Yang family for a discussion, Xiaozhu said. Ding, player has triggered an S-level special quest, Demon Beast Rampage. Quest requirement, resolve the Chanyuan Kingdom's Demon Beast Rampage crisis. Quest reward, Beast King token. Another quest, and an S-level special quest at that. The reward for this quest was a Beast King token. What exactly was a Beast King token? Yang Lei didn't know, but he could be sure that it wasn't a simple item. This was an S-level special quest, how could its reward be an ordinary item? Do you accept the quest? Of course, he would accept. It was a joke, such a quest was extremely rare. There was no reason not to accept it. The Beast King token, that was definitely something he wanted. Accept quest. Ding, congratulations to the player for accepting the S-level special quest, Demon Beast Rampage. Quest duration, 1 month. Since he had accepted the quest, he had to start solving it. How to solve it? Naturally, he first needed to understand the cause of the Demon Beast Rampage, trace it back to its roots, and only then could he come up with a solution. He couldn't act like a headless fly, running around aimlessly. Seeking out old Master Yang Wudi was naturally a good choice, he should be very knowledgeable about this Demon Beast Rampage situation. If the Yan Mountain demon beasts were rampaging, perhaps he could find some useful information from Baisuzhen. Unfortunately, Baisuzhen was currently cultivating and couldn't be summoned. Furthermore, although Little Wolf was a demon beast from the Yang family's back mountain, the Yang family's back mountain was just a branch of Yan Mountain. Perhaps it also knew something, but unfortunately, Little Wolf's level was too low, only level 7 now, and it couldn't communicate with him. 10 minutes later, Yang Lei arrived at the Yang family. Grandfather, 4th grandfather, elders. Little Lei is here. Come sit here. First elder, how can he, a junior, sit in that position? Seeing Yang Wudi ask Yang Lei to sit next to him, some people present were displeased. A middle-aged man around 30 years old quickly stood up and spoke. Yang Lei used his appraisal technique. This man was named Yang Qingji, a martial saint mid-stage expert. And this guy seemed to be Yang Wuhui's subordinate, no wonder his gaze towards him carried hostility. He had dealt with Yang Tianlei, who was Yang Wuhui's grandson, so Yang Qingji, as a subordinate, naturally had to express his dissatisfaction. Little Lei is my grandson, and also an inner sect disciple of Xuanji sect. Today, he is already a martial emperor realm expert. Is that not enough? Moreover, he is Yang Yu's son, and today Yang Yu is a martial god realm expert. Is that enough? Yang Wudi looked at the crowd and said. Speaking of Yang Yu, Yang Lei hadn't found his figure, which was somewhat unexpected. Those who were originally dissatisfied with Yang Wudi immediately stopped objecting. Yang Lei was an inner sect disciple of Xuanji sect, and at a young age, he had already reached the martial emperor realm. Furthermore, and most importantly, Yang Lei's father, Yang Yu, was now a martial god realm expert. A martial god realm expert meant that the Yang family could be worry-free for several hundred years. It also meant that Yang Yu's position in the Yang family was unshakable, unless Yang Wuhui also advanced to martial god. Otherwise, it would be impossible to contend with Yang Yu, and the Yang family would become Yang Yu's domain. Today, I've gathered everyone mainly for one matter, which I'm sure everyone has heard about. That's right, it's about the Yen Mountain Demon Beast Rampage. Yang Wudi swept his gaze around and said. The Yen Mountain Demon Beast Rampage, what exactly is going on? Didn't demon beasts rampage in the past? Why are we so nervous this time? Yang Lei asked, puzzled. Yang Wudi said, this time is different from previous years. In the past, demon beast rampages were merely below sacred beasts. But this time's demon beast rampage has seen the appearance of sacred beasts, and even divine beasts. Moreover, they are attacking in an organized and disciplined manner. Our Yang family is bearing the brunt this time. The back mountain barrier has been impacted multiple times. The back mountain barrier has been impacted? How is this possible? Even sacred beasts shouldn't be able to break through the barrier, Yang Wuing said. Sacred beasts naturally can't break through, but what if there are divine beasts? Yang Wudi said. Hiss. Everyone couldn't help but gasp. If there were divine beasts, then this barrier truly wouldn't be enough. If it continued to be impacted for a while, this barrier might very well be broken. Then, we should hurry over, otherwise, if the barrier is broken, our Yang family will be in trouble, Yang Wuhui also said at this moment. Yang Wudi shook his head, we must now make adequate preparations. As for the barrier, there's no need to worry for now, because Yang Yu has already gone over. Yang Yu is a martial god realm expert. With him there, even divine beasts won't be able to break through the barrier in a short time. What we need to do now is to find a way to reinforce the barrier. At this moment, a person rushed in. Patriarch, this is bad, this is bad. What's bad? Why are you so flustered? Yang Wudi frowned and said. The back mountain has already been impacted by demon beasts. We can't hold on much longer. That disciple shouted. What? Did a sacred beast break through the barrier? Yang Wudi was shocked and grabbed the disciple's hand. No. Then what happened? It's golden-winged flying ants, so many golden-winged flying ants. We can't stop them. So many people have been gnawed to death. That disciple's body trembled, as if seeing some terrifying scene, continuously wailing. Hiss. Everyone was shocked. Golden-winged flying ants, although they were only level 5 demon beasts, their numbers were immense, and they all possessed potent poison. If a huge swarm attacked, it would truly be terrifying. Even a martial saint great perfection expert would have to avoid their sharp edge. Each time they moved, there were usually tens of thousands of them, but if the entire clan moved out, the number of golden-winged flying ants would reach a terrifying level, over 100 million. If there were over 100 million golden-winged flying ants, how terrifying would that be? Such a dense swarm made one's scalp tingle just thinking about it. Let alone martial saints, even martial god realm experts would only be able to flee. Go, this matter brooks no delay. We will immediately go to the back mountain. We cannot allow those golden-winged flying ants to break through our defenses. Yang Wudi waved his hand and gave the order. Yes. Everyone nodded. Yang Lei, wait a moment. Yang Wudi called out to Yang Lei, who was about to leave. Grandfather, is there anything else? Yang Lei had to go this time, otherwise, the quest couldn't be completed. Not to mention the punishment, the key was the successful reward. The Beast King token made Yang Lei extremely covetous. Although he didn't know what benefits the Beast King token had, Yang Lei speculated that its effect might be to command myriad beasts. You don't need to go. Your cultivation is too weak. Moreover, you are the future pillar of our Yang family. If anything happens to you, our Yang family cannot afford such a loss. Yang Wudi patted Yang Lei's shoulder and said. Yang Lei, however, shook his head and said, I must go. If I'm even worried and afraid of this, my future cultivation will not be able to advance, let alone reach the martial god realm. Cultivation requires a courageous heart that fears nothing. Only with a fearless heart can one become a peak expert, reach the martial god realm, and break through martial god to enter that legendary realm. If I retreat now, then I will not be able to advance in the future. So, even if it means death, I cannot retreat. Good, good, good. Yang Wudi said the word good 3 times. This is truly my grandson, Yang Wudi. To become an expert, one must possess a fearless heart that disregards life and death. Experts are forever fearless of challenges. Let us go together to face this life and death challenge. Yang Lei wasn't very clear about the so-called golden-winged flying ants, but he understood that to win, he must first understand the enemy's weakness. Although the golden-winged flying ants were numerous, each individual one was very weak, and they must have weaknesses. The Great Tao was fair, where there was strength, there was weakness. Every creature had its natural predator. If he could find the natural predator of the golden-winged flying ants, then dealing with them would naturally not be difficult. Grandfather, tell me about these golden-winged flying ants. What are their weaknesses? What are their natural predators? Yang Lei asked as they walked. These golden-winged flying ants are an ancient exotic beast. Legend has it that in ancient times, there were people who specialized in domesticating these golden-winged flying ants for battle. Golden-winged flying ants possess potent poison, and their numbers are usually immense, causing great headaches. These golden-winged flying ants haven't appeared for many years. I didn't expect so many to appear in this demon beast rampage. The only weakness of the golden-winged flying ants is that they fear fire, but ordinary flames are useless because their temperature is too low and cannot stop the golden-winged flying ants. As for their natural predator, I only saw it in an ancient book. The only natural predator of the golden-winged flying ants is the heaven-devouring beast. This heaven-devouring beast is an ancient exotic beast, now long extinct. Where would one find a heaven-devouring beast? Yang Wudi sighed. He had only seen the heaven-devouring beast in ancient books, he had never seen a real one. Heaven-devouring beast, grandfather, what exactly does a heaven-devouring beast look like? Yang Lei didn't believe the heaven-devouring beast was extinct. The Great Tao was balanced. Since the golden-winged flying ants existed, how could their natural predator be extinct? So Yang Lei believed that heaven-devouring beasts definitely still existed, or that the golden-winged flying ants had other natural predators. Otherwise, if the golden-winged flying ants had no natural predators, it would be strange if they didn't dominate Xianyuan's star. Heaven-devouring beast. I accidentally obtained an ancient book that describes the heaven-devouring beast. You can take it and see for yourself. Yang Wudi took out a yellowed ancient book. It was made of beast hide and had survived countless years without any signs of damage. Yang Lei took it and looked. He still recognized these ancient characters. Myriad beasts strange intent. Myriad beasts strange intent, what a myriad beasts strange intent. He opened the first page, and a surge of wild and ferocious aura shook Yang Lei. Sky-ripping beast. One of the ancient desolate beasts, possessing the power to rip the sky and tear the earth. The description was very simple, but the illustration of the sky-ripping beast was very vivid, and that aura filled people with awe. Without time to look closely, Yang Lei quickly flipped through it and found the section related to golden-winged flying ants. The appearance of the golden-winged flying ant was exactly as its name suggested, a pair of golden wings, a completely red body, and huge mandibles in front that sent chills down one's spine. Upon inspection, this was originally an ancient golden-winged flying ant, presumably not much different from the current one. Heaven-devouring beast. The natural predator of golden-winged flying ants. This heaven-devouring beast was not only the natural predator of golden-winged flying ants but also of many other exotic beasts. Heaven-devouring beast, as its name suggested, possessed the power to devour all things. It reminded Yang Lei of a legendary ancient ferocious beast on earth. Tao Tai. Legend has it that Tao Tai was the fifth son of the ancient ancestral dragon, eating everything it encountered, capable of devouring all things. It was an extremely powerful ferocious beast. And this heaven-devouring beast actually looked extremely adorable, with a very gentle appearance. This heaven-devouring beast's appearance looked very familiar. Yang Lei frowned, certain that he had indeed seen this heaven-devouring beast somewhere before. Where exactly was it? Yang Lei pondered, but couldn't recall where he had seen it. What's wrong, little Lei? Seeing Yang Lei frowning all the way, Yang Wudi couldn't help but ask. I seem to have seen the heaven-devouring beast somewhere, but I can't remember specifically, Yang Lei said. Perhaps you're too nervous, Yang Wudi patted Yang Lei's shoulder. Suddenly, Yang Lei remembered, wasn't this heaven-devouring beast that little unknown creature from the first time he opened the gambling system? Unfortunately, his luck was too bad, and he didn't gamble it out. Soon, Yang Lei and the others arrived at the back mountain. Most of the Yang family's martial artists were already there. At this moment, countless golden-winged flying ants in the distance were continuously impacting the newly established barrier, dense and numerous, chirping with extremely piercing sounds. Patriarch is here, Patriarch is here. Everyone made way. Yang Wudi walked to the front of the barrier. The situation was extremely serious at this moment. He looked at Yang Yu, who was leading the defenses, and said, Yang Yu, how is the situation? It's very troublesome. Unless we can set up the 9-ly profound fire array, we won't be able to stop these golden-winged flying ants' attacks, Yang Yu said with a serious tone. 9-ly profound fire array? Our Yang family doesn't even have this 9-ly profound fire array, so how can we set it up? Besides this, are there any other methods to stop the golden-winged flying ants' attacks? Yang Wudi sighed. He had only heard of the 9-ly profound fire great array, he had never actually seen it. Yang Yu shook his head, no. Besides the 9-ly profound fire great array, I can't think of any other way to restrain so many golden-winged flying ants and halt their advance. To catch bandits, first catch their leader, Yang Lei said at this moment. Yang Wudi's eyes lit up, that's right, little Lei is right. To catch bandits, first catch their leader. If we can capture the golden-winged flying ant emperor, or kill it, then these golden-winged flying ants won't be a threat. Difficult, difficult, difficult. It's almost impossible to kill or capture the golden-winged flying ant emperor among over 1 billion golden-winged flying ants, Yang Yu shook his head and said. Indeed, the probability of killing or capturing the golden-winged flying ant emperor was truly too low. The golden-winged flying ant emperor was surrounded at the very center. Even a martial god couldn't get through. Then what should we do? Do we really have to give up? This is absolutely impossible. Our Yang family's foundation is here. Our foundation cannot be destroyed. Once our foundation is destroyed, will our Yang family still be the Yang family? Yang Wuyin said. I think Xuanji sect should have a solution, Yang Wuhui glanced at Yang Lei at this moment and said. That's right, Xuanji sect is a great immortal sect. They should have methods to deal with these golden-winged flying ants. Everyone nodded in agreement. They all looked at Yang Lei, because among everyone present, only Yang Lei was an inner sect disciple of Xuanji sect and had the best relationship with Xuanji sect. Therefore, when Yang Wuhui suggested this method, everyone placed their hopes on Yang Lei. Even Yang Wudi and Yang Yu looked at him. Little Lei, Yang Wudi looked at Yang Lei, hoping for an answer from him. After all, this matter concerned the survival of the Yang family. Yang Lei finally nodded slightly, alright, I'll ask Elder Channy if he has a solution. Little Lei, whether we can resolve the Yang family's crisis this time depends on you, Yang Yu looked at Yang Lei and said. I'll do my best. Yang Lei didn't shy away and directly took out Elder Channy's communication talisman. Elder Tian. It's Yang Lei. Are you asking about the Yen Mountain Demon Beast rampage this time? Elder Channy had already guessed when he received Yang Lei's message. Yang Lei was in Qianyuan Kingdom, and today the Yen Mountain Demon Beasts were rampaging, with Qianyuan Kingdom bearing the brunt. Yang Lei nodded and said, that's right, it's about this matter. The situation is troublesome today. Our Yang family has encountered countless golden-winged flying ant attacks. If there's no way to deal with these golden-winged flying ants, the Yang family might not be able to hold on. By then, not only the Yang family, but Qianyuan Kingdom will also definitely be in danger. Golden-winged flying ants? You actually encountered attacks from those creatures? Elder Channy was shocked upon hearing this. He also knew the terrifying nature of golden-winged flying ants. Moreover, judging from Yang Lei's tone, the number of golden-winged flying ants was not ordinary. If that was the case, Jianyuan Kingdom was truly in trouble. It's golden-winged flying ants. Today, there are only two ways to stop these golden-winged flying ants. One is to set up the 9ly profound fire grade array. The second is to find a way to kill the golden-winged flying ant emperor. However, killing the golden-winged flying ant emperor is too difficult, no one is competent enough to do it. Let alone killing the ant queen, even entering the central area of the golden-winged flying ant swarm is unlikely. Therefore, setting up the 9ly profound fire grade array is the only choice. But our young family doesn't have the 9ly profound fire grade array. Hence, I really have no choice but to ask for your help, Elder Tian. Yang Lei directly stated his purpose. 9ly profound fire grade array. That's right, this 9ly profound fire grade array is indeed a good choice. Our Xuanji sect also has this 9ly profound fire grade array, but the person who can set it up is not in Xuanji sect today. He went out 3 years ago, Elder Channy said. What? Yang Lei's heart fluttered. He finally had a solution, but he didn't expect the person who could set up the array to be outside. Does Elder Tian have any other methods? Can you tell me the method to set up the 9ly profound fire grade array? Other methods, I can't think of any, but I can indeed give you the method to set up the 9ly profound fire grade array, Elder Channy said. Remember carefully. The communication talisman doesn't have much time. I can only say it once. Remember it clearly. Elder Tian, please speak. I will remember it, Yang Lei said. 3 minutes later, Elder Channy verbally transmitted all the key points of setting up the 9ly profound fire grade array to Yang Lei. Ding, congratulations to the player for comprehending the 9ly profound fire grade array. Ding, congratulations to the player for leveling up the array formation art. Upon hearing the system's prompt, Yang Lei was overjoyed. This was truly a blessing from the heavens. Did you remember? Elder Channy's voice came from the communication talisman. I remember. Thank you, Elder Tian, this time. Yang Lei was filled with gratitude for Elder Channy telling him the method to set up the 9ly profound fire grade array. Remembering is good. Elder Channy said. This time, with the Yen Mountain Demon Beast rampage, our Xuanji sect will also dispatch disciples to resolve it. So, if you are already here, then you are one of the disciples Xuanji sect is sending. In 2 days, we will meet again. I hope you all can endure. Elder Tian, rest assured, for our home, we will absolutely hold our ground. That's good. There are some things I'll tell you later. But if you truly can't stop them, don't take risks. Life comes first. You must remember this. Only by preserving your life can you have the chance to achieve the supreme peak, Elder Channy said, then cut off the communication. How is the situation? Yang Wudi asked when he saw Yang Lei put away the communication talisman. I already know the method to set up the 9ly profound fire grade array, but setting up this 9ly profound fire grade array is not a simple matter. Most importantly, it requires fire attribute spirit stones, or fire attribute demon cores. Moreover, the demon cores must be at least level 9, a total of 81 of them. Yang Lei looked at the crowd and said. Hiss. Everyone present couldn't help but gasp. 81 level 9 fire attribute demon cores, this was not a small number, it was too many. Today, our young family can at most gather 60 fire attribute level 9 demon cores. We are still short of 21 demon cores, Yang Wuyin stood up and said. Go to Chongfeng Chamber of Commerce to purchase them. That's the only way. Perhaps Chongfeng Chamber of Commerce has so many, Yang Wudi said helplessly. I'll go, Yang Lei said again. With his relationship with Chongfeng Chamber of Commerce, getting 20-some level 9 demon cores wouldn't be a problem. He was a guest elder of Chongfeng Chamber of Commerce after all. Alright then, the remaining 21 fire attribute level 9 demon cores will be entrusted to Yang Lei. Yang Wudi saw Yang Lei's competence and entrusted him with the task of gathering the remaining 21 demon cores. Rest assured, grandfather. Good. If you need anything, just tell me. For money, go directly to 7th Elder, Yang Wudi nodded slightly. Yang Lei didn't say anything more, turned, and rushed towards Chongfeng Chamber of Commerce. Soon, Yang Lei arrived at the Chamber of Commerce. Old brother Zhao, prepare 21 fire attribute level 9 demon cores for me. No, prepare as many as you have, Yang Lei said urgently when he saw Zhao Yuan. Fire Tribute Level 9 Demon Cores? Yes, Fire Tribute Level 9 Demon Cores. Currently, there are only 30 in total here. If you need more, you'll need to get them from the warehouse. Zhao Yuan saw Yang Lei's urgency and understood that it must be related to this demon beast rampage. 9 Profound Fire Great Array, activate. Yang Lei arranged the 81 Fire Attribute Demon Cores, his hands forming hand seals. Ding, congratulations to the player for successfully setting up the 9 Profound Fire Great Array. Proficiency increased. With the 9 Profound Fire Great Array successfully set up, it could block the dense swarm of golden-winged flying ants, allowing everyone to breathe a sigh of relief. Little Lei, this time we're fortunate to have you. Yang Wudi gently patted Yang Lei's shoulder, causing Yang Lei to almost stumble. Yang Wudi was startled and quickly supported him, asking with concern, "Are you alright?" "I'm fine, it's just a great consumption. I'll be fine after some rest." Yang Wudi breathed a sigh of relief. If anything happened to Yang Lei, the loss would be enormous. Yang Lei took an origin-restoring pill, and after a short while, he recovered some strength. "Grandfather, this isn't a long-term solution. Even if this 9 Profound Fire Great Array is powerful, it can't withstand the continuous frantic impact of the golden-winged flying ants forever." Seeing the fearless golden-winged flying ants frantically impacting the Profound Fire Great Array, Yang Lei was filled with worry. But what other solution is there? We currently have no way to deal with those golden-winged flying ants. We can only hope this demon beast rampage ends quickly, Yang Wudi sighed. Little Lei, you should rest well now. The rest of the matters will be handled by us. Seeing Yang Lei's somewhat pale face, Yang Wudi was filled with heartache. After all, he was his grandson. He returned to his own courtyard. He saw the old drunkard leisurely drinking wine, while Xia Zhu and the 3 girls practiced a sword formation. 3 talent sword formation. Yang Lei's eyes lit up. Yang Lei had seen this 3 talent sword formation before, but this particular sword formation seemed different. Its power was much stronger. Today, the combined attack of the 3 was not a simple 3+1. It definitely increased by more than 3-fold. As such, the 3's current cultivation was at the Martial Master realm, but dealing with a Martial Emperor realm expert was not difficult, which showed the terror of this sword formation. If 3 Martial Emperor realm experts practiced it, it could compare to a Martial Saint. This was the power of a combined array formation. However, Yang Lei remembered the 7 Absolutes array and the Zhuge 8 trigram formation diagram. If he could create the 7 Absolutes array and the 8 trigram formation diagram, how terrifying would their power be? It would be absolutely unimaginable. Young Master, you're back. Seeing Yang Lei return, the 3 girls all stopped. Yang Lei nodded slightly. I'll go get warm water for Young Master to bathe, Chunlan quickly said. Go, Xia Zhu, on the other hand, quickly poured a cup of tea. Young Master, how was this demon beast rampage? The old drunkard also stood up. Hearing the old drunkard's question, Yang Lei remembered that the old drunkard was a super expert. Perhaps he knew how to deal with those golden-winged flying ants? The situation is quite serious. Yang Lei paused, looking at the old drunkard, and said, I wonder if Elder Lin has a way to resolve this demon beast rampage crisis for our young family? The old drunkard chuckled. Actually, resolving this demon beast rampage crisis is not a difficult matter. Yang Lei's heart skipped a beat. Elder Lin, what method do you have? The old drunkard continued, did young master notice that this demon beast rampage is different from previous ones? Yang Lei thought for a moment and nodded slightly. This demon beast rampage was larger in scale than previous ones. Even divine beasts had moved. Moreover, it was very early. Those demon beasts were all crazy and fearless, as if they wanted to break through the entire Qianyuan kingdom. Yes, but what does that have to do with resolving this demon beast rampage crisis? Yang Lei asked. Actually, from these suspicious points, it's not hard to see that this demon beast rampage was not naturally generated, but rather manipulated by someone behind the scenes. The old drunkard took a sip of wine and said. What? How is this possible? Who has such ability to actually initiate a demon beast rampage? Moreover, there are even divine beasts involved. I'm afraid in Qianyuan Kingdom, no one can make all the demon beasts in Yen Mountain rage and rampage, right? Yang Lei's heart was filled with shock. If what the old drunkard said was true, then the matter was truly serious. If someone could instigate a demon beast rampage, then how powerful was their strength? And why did they initiate this demon beast rampage? What kind of conspiracy was behind it? If it weren't for someone, then why would these demon beasts be so uncontrollably violent? The old drunkard asked back. This. Yang Lei truly couldn't believe it. Who exactly had such great ability, and he couldn't figure out what their purpose was if they were indeed orchestrating this demon beast rampage? Why would they do such a thing? Could it be Samara Hall orchestrating this demon beast rampage? If it really was Samara Hall, then they indeed had this kind of strength. Moreover, besides Samara Hall, Yang Lei couldn't think of anyone else who had such great ability. However, Yang Lei thought of something else. Since the old drunkard was so certain that this demon beast rampage was man-made, then the old drunkard must know something, and might even know who was behind this demon beast rampage. So Yang Lei stared at the old drunkard and said, Elder Lin, tell me truthfully, what exactly do you know? What is the inside story of this demon beast rampage? Who initiated this demon beast rampage? What exactly is their conspiracy? Or rather, what is their ultimate goal? Is it just to deliver a huge blow to Chanyuan Kingdom? The old drunkard forced a bitter smile upon hearing this. He indeed knew a little about this demon beast rampage. This was just a game between the great figure Eastern divine beast and a great figure among humans. However, these things couldn't be revealed. Even if he did reveal them, no one would believe him. Of course, if Yang Lei participated in it, then the situation would be different. Those two great figures wouldn't dare to offend the person behind Yang Lei. Although the strength of those two great figures was formidable, and it could be said that they stood at the peak of the entire Shanyuan star, compared to the forces behind Yang Lei, they were truly not worth mentioning. These things, how should I put it, you can imagine it as a test. Even if the test fails, you won't suffer any losses, the old drunkard said helplessly. Yang Lei was puzzled upon hearing this. What the old drunkard said made him even more confused. A test? This demon beast rampage was a test? This was too absurd. What kind of test? Who was being tested? These were all question marks? Who was being tested? This is a test aimed at the 7 great immortal sections. This demon beast rampage will involve all the disciples of the 7 great immortal sections. The immortal sect that performs best will receive rewards, and conversely, the one that performs worst will be punished, the old drunkard said. A test aimed at the 7 great immortal sects? Why use Chanyuan Kingdom as the testing ground? There are many testing grounds, why must Chanyuan Kingdom be chosen? Yang Lei stared at the old drunkard and asked. Seeing Yang Lei like this, the old drunkard forced a bitter smile. Was this something he could control? Although his cultivation was not bad, compared to those few individuals, he was nothing. I don't know either. Those great figures decided it, the old drunkard said. Today, the old drunkard was becoming increasingly mysterious. What he saw was just the tip of the iceberg. What was the old drunkard's true status? Why did he stay by his side? Yang Lei was filled with curiosity, but he also knew that if the old drunkard didn't want to say, he wouldn't tell him no matter how much he asked. You said it's not difficult to resolve this demon beast rampage. So how can we resolve this demon beast rampage crisis? Yang Lei thought for a moment. Since the old drunkard didn't want to say, his persistence was useless. It was better to be more practical and resolve this demon beast rampage crisis earlier. That way, he could also complete the quest earlier and receive the rewards. To resolve this problem, young master only needs to deal with one person, and that is the leader of this demon beast rampage, a divine beast. As long as you can deal with him, then this demon beast rampage will be completely resolved, because these demon beasts all obey his commands, the old drunkard said. Have to deal with a divine beast? Yang Lei frowned. Divine beasts were no laughing matter. Their strength was formidable, much stronger than ordinary martial gods. Could he deal with it? Even if he used the great strength Vajra orb and then used the heavenly blade first form, he might not necessarily win. And this was still considered not difficult? Yang Lei forced a bitter smile. That's right. As long as you deal with that guy, then this crisis will naturally be resolved. Moreover, young master, since you are a member of Xuanji sect, your status in Xuanji sect will also greatly improve, the old drunkard said. Elder Lin, what you say is simple. This is a divine beast. With my cultivation, I can't even deal with those golden-winged flying ants, let alone a divine beast. Yang Lei said helplessly. I can't help with that either. Unless you know how to use invisibility. If so, you might be able to eliminate the golden-winged flying ant emperor. Otherwise, there are no other methods, the old drunkard said. Elder Lin, what did you just say? Yang Lei's eyes lit up and he asked. I said, unless you can eliminate the golden-winged flying ant emperor, otherwise, there are no other methods, the old drunkard repeated. No, not that sentence. It's the one before that. Before that? I said, unless you can use invisibility. That's the one. I found a way to deal with the golden-winged flying ants. Yang Lei was excited. Invisibility? Didn't he have an invisibility talisman? He could use it to turn invisible and enter the golden-winged flying ant swarm, find the ant emperor, then use the heavenly blade first form to eliminate the golden-winged flying ant emperor. Then, this golden-winged flying ant crisis would naturally be resolved. Could it be that you have a way to turn invisible? The old drunkard asked in surprise. Invisibility talisman. What did you say? You have an invisibility talisman? The old drunkard couldn't help but exclaim loudly. This invisibility talisman had long been lost, and Yang Lei actually mentioned it. How could the old drunkard not be surprised? Obtained by chance, Yang Lei said. If it's an invisibility talisman, couldn't one go to the center of the golden-winged flying ant swarm and find the ant queen's location? That's naturally possible, but that golden-winged flying ant emperor is a level 9 sacred beast. Its attack power might not be strong, but its defense is unparalleled. Unless one possesses the attack power of a martial saint great perfection expert, it's impossible to kill it, the old drunkard said. Moreover, the invisibility talisman also has flaws. Even if you kill the golden-winged flying ant emperor, you will definitely become visible. At that point, you will certainly be subjected to the frantic attacks of all the golden-winged flying ants. By then, there will only be one path, death. Therefore, I suggest young master not undertake this mission. But Yang Lei smiled. Killing the golden-winged flying ant emperor, he absolutely had no problem. Yang Lei knew the power of the heavenly blade first form best. His current strength had increased several times compared to before. Killing a martial saint great perfection expert was definitely doable. Furthermore, he didn't care about becoming visible after killing the ant emperor. He had another ultimate move, which was instant teleportation. If he used instant teleportation, he could escape immediately. Thank you for the reminder, Elder Lin. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't have known how to deal with that golden-winged flying ant emperor. Yang Lei took out a jar of drunken life, dream death wine and handed it to the old drunkard, saying, This is a jar of drunken life, dream death wine. Consider it my gift to Elder Lin. As for the other 2 jars, Elder Lin will have to wait a few more days. These days, due to the demon beast rampage, I haven't had time. I hope Elder Lin can forgive me. How could the old drunkard resist the temptation of this peerless fine wine? His mouth was watering, his eyes almost falling out, staring intently at the wine jar in Yang Lei's hand. Thank you, young master. This old drunkard will not be polite. If young master needs anything, just ask directly. As long as it's not something like the 1,000-year red lotus seed, this old drunkard can still find a way. Holding the jar of drunken life, dream death wine, the old drunkard was extremely excited. After the old drunkard left, Yang Lei returned to his room. Although he said he had a way to deal with the golden-winged flying ants, it was still too early to resolve this demon beast rampage crisis. This rampage involved more than just golden-winged flying ants. The powerful demon beasts deep within Yen Mountain had all moved, including sacred beasts and divine beasts. Of course, for Yang Lei, this was actually a very good opportunity to level up. He could kill demon beasts and gain experience points from it. If nothing unexpected happened, he might have a chance to break through to the Martial Emperor mid-stage, reaching Martial Emperor late stage. Currently, Yang Lei's cultivation was only Martial Emperor stage 3. It required a lot of experience points to reach Martial Emperor late stage. From Martial Emperor stage 3 to Martial Emperor stage 4 alone, it required 3 billion experience points. The experience points needed to reach Martial Emperor late stage could then be imagined. Therefore, this time, he could frantically kill demon beasts without any worries. Yang Lei cultivated for 3 hours, bringing himself to peak condition, and then went to the back mountain alone. At this moment, Yang Wudi and the others were still guarding the back mountain, not daring to relax, killing golden-winged flying ants one after another. Looking at the corpses of the golden-winged flying ants on the ground, there were tens of thousands of them. These were all ants that had broken through the array formation. Although there was now the 9-ly profound fire-grade array for protection, many golden-winged flying ants had already rushed in before. And this time, the Yang family disciples also suffered considerable casualties. Most were Martial Master Realm Guards. As for Martial King Realm Guards, they could also stop the golden-winged flying ants, but their numbers were so great that it was difficult to take care of all the Martial Master Realm martial artists. Casualties were inevitable. Little Lei, why are you here again? You should rest well. Yang Wudi immediately walked over when he saw Yang Lei's figure, speaking with a hint of reproach. Yang Lei looked at Yang Wudi and gently shook his head, saying, "Grandfather, I'm fine now. This time, I'm here to tell you something important, which concerns whether we can resolve this golden-winged flying ant crisis." Oh? Yang Wudi looked at Yang Lei's expression, which didn't seem like he was lying. Moreover, Yang Lei wouldn't joke about such an important matter. If he could resolve this golden-winged flying ant crisis, it would also give Yang Lei some breathing room. After all, this demon beast rampage was still ongoing, and no one knew when it would end. Being able to preserve strength was naturally the best outcome. What method do you have? I have an invisibility talisman, which can prevent the golden-winged flying ants from detecting my presence. With it, I can eliminate the golden-winged flying ant emperor. Once these golden-winged flying ants have no ant queen, they will naturally no longer be a threat, Yang Lei said. Invisibility talisman? Little Lei, you mean you have an invisibility talisman? Yang Wudi excitedly grabbed Yang Lei's arm. Yang Lei nodded very seriously and said, "Yes, but this invisibility talisman can only remain invisible for half an hour." Invisibility talisman, if it's really an invisibility talisman, then this time the golden-winged flying ant problem can be completely resolved, Yang Wudi muttered. So, grandfather, this time I intend to go and kill the ant queen. What? No, absolutely not. Your cultivation is too weak. You absolutely cannot kill the ant emperor. Although these golden-winged flying ants are only level 5 demon beasts, their ant emperor has reached the level 9 sacred beast realm, and its defense is very strong. Unless it's a martial saint great perfection realm expert, it's impossible to kill the ant emperor. Moreover, after killing the ant emperor, the golden-winged flying ants will definitely fall into chaos. Being inside the ant swarm is extremely dangerous. You simply won't be able to escape. So I absolutely will not let you take such a risk, Yang Wudi shook his head repeatedly. Then, grandfather, do you have a way to escape from the golden-winged flying ant swarm? Yang Lei asked. Although Yang Wudi couldn't figure out why Yang Lei would ask such a question, he still shook his head and said, "No, I can't." But I can, Yang Lei said. This invisibility talisman only lasts for half an hour. Moreover, once I use a martial skill to attack the ant emperor, it will lose its effect. I don't think anyone besides me can escape the ant swarm. Seeing Yang Lei's confident demeanor, Yang Wudi was very skeptical. Even a martial god wouldn't be confident in easily escaping from the ant swarm. How could his grandson have such powerful confidence? If you don't let me see it with my own eyes, and make me believe that you can escape the ant swarm, I will not agree, Yang Wudi said. Yang Lei saw that the old master's tone was so firm, and he understood that if he didn't demonstrate instant teleportation to him, he wouldn't believe that he had the ability to escape the ant swarm. All right, grandfather, watch closely. Yang Lei silently chanted, and with a thought, activated instant teleportation. His entire body instantly disappeared from the spot. Yang Wudi was shocked. A living person had actually vanished out of thin air before his eyes, without any aura. Grandfather, I'm here. In the distance, Yang Lei waved to Yang Wudi, signaling. Little Lei, what kind of cultivation technique is this? Yang Wudi was shocked. He was only half a step away from entering the martial god realm, yet Yang Lei had instantly moved to the entrance right before his eyes, and he hadn't sensed anything at all. How shocking was this? Even a martial god-level martial artist couldn't do it. Yang Lei saw Yang Wudi's expression and understood that this time he would definitely be able to persuade him to agree to let him eliminate the golden-winged flying ant emperor. Instant teleportation. Instant teleportation. What a fearsome instant teleportation. It is indeed extremely powerful, Yang Wudi said upon hearing this. With this cultivation technique, you can go anywhere. No wonder, little Lei, you are confident that you can escape from the encirclement of the golden-winged flying ants. So, grandfather, you can agree to me going to eliminate the ant emperor now, right? Young Lei said. I agree. However, little Lei, you must be extremely careful. Do not force yourself. If you are not confident in killing the ant emperor, then retreat immediately. We can think of other ways. Your safety is the most important, Yang Wudi instructed. Grandfather, don't worry. I'm not an impulsive person. I won't easily act without confidence, Yang Lei nodded and said. Yang Wudi took off a ring from his hand and presented it to Yang Lei. Little Lei, I have already erased my spiritual imprint from this. You accept it as your master first. Yang Lei used his appraisal technique and couldn't help but be startled. Black Tortoise Ring. Supreme Grade Spirit Artifact, Sealed State. Possesses extremely strong defensive power, capable of blocking a full-force attack from a martial god Great Perfection expert. It could actually block a full-force attack from a martial god Great Perfection expert. The preciousness of this Black Tortoise Ring could be imagined. Even a divine artifact might not be as powerful as it was. Grandfather, I cannot accept this, Yang Lei quickly refused. Although this ring was indeed very useful to him, it wasn't indispensable. Moreover, how important was this ring to Yang Wudi? His gaze already revealed that this ring was not only extremely powerful but also held extraordinary significance for Yang Wudi. Take it. If I give it to you, then take it. This ring can block a full-force attack from a martial god Great Perfection expert. And because you are going to eliminate the golden-winged flying ant emperor this time, there are many dangers. This ring can easily help you. If any unexpected situation truly occurs, the ring can protect you from harm, then I can rest assured, Yang Wudi glared at Yang Lei and said. Grandfather, I really don't need this ring. Actually, to tell you the truth, grandfather, I cultivate both internally and externally. Not only do I cultivate true qi, but I also cultivate external martial arts. Even without using true qi, ordinary early-stage martial saints cannot harm me, Yang Lei shook his head and said. Are you not joking? Yang Wudi was even more shocked upon hearing this. A 16-year-old youth's body was actually so strong that he could directly withstand the attacks of ordinary early-stage martial saint martial artists. This was too terrifying. One must know that he was only 16 years old, and his realm hadn't even reached the martial saint realm. Moreover, even a martial saint realm expert couldn't purely rely on their physical body to contend against attacks from martial artists of the same level. Naturally not. If grandfather doesn't believe me, you can try it, Yang Lei said. Alright, I believe you. However, you must still wear this ring. Those golden-winged flying ants are not normal. Their poison is extremely terrifying, and their corrosiveness is very strong. Even spirit artifacts can be corroded, let alone flesh and blood. No matter how strong your body is, it can't compare to a spirit artifact. But with this ring, it's different. Within half an hour, it can completely block the poisonous attacks of the golden-winged flying ants. So, little Lei, if you insist on going to eliminate the ant emperor, you must wear this ring. Even if you don't want to, you must take it now. You can return it to me after you kill the ant emperor and come back, Yang Wudi said, looking at him with extreme seriousness. Finally, Yang Lei nodded and accepted the black tortoise ring. He then imprinted a trace of his spiritual imprint on it. Immediately after, an incantation deeply carved itself into Yang Lei's mind. This incantation was how to activate the black tortoise ring to block external attacks. At the edge of the ninely profound fire grade array, Yang Wudi opened a gap in the formation. Yang Lei's figure flickered and passed through the formation. At that instant, countless golden-winged flying ants swarmed over, terrifying Yang Wudi. Immediately after, Yang Lei crushed the invisibility talisman. His entire body instantly disappeared. The golden-winged flying ants, having lost Yang Lei's figure and aura, immediately scattered. Seeing Yang Lei successfully turn invisible, Yang Wudi breathed a sigh of relief. Yang Lei himself had also broken into a cold sweat. These golden-winged flying ants gave people too terrifying a feeling. One or two were nothing, but such a dense swarm swarming out was truly terrifying, sending chills down one's spine. Big brother, do you think Yang Lei will succeed? Yang Wuing's tone was somewhat worried. I believe he will definitely succeed, Yang Wudi said with great certainty. Meanwhile, Yang Wuhui's expression was complex, as if he was deep in thought. Outside the range of the array formation's protection, Yang Lei headed towards the central position of the golden-winged flying ants. Even with the invisibility talisman and the black tortoise ring, Yang Lei was still very cautious and crushed a great Earthvitra talisman for self-protection. After all, this was not an easy task, it was extremely dangerous. One careless mistake could lead to eternal damnation. Moreover, the invisibility talisman's effect only lasted for half an hour. If he couldn't find the golden-winged flying ant emperor within half an hour, then things would be troublesome. And using the invisibility talisman a second time required a half-hour cooldown. This half-hour could be extremely problematic. With so many golden-winged flying ants, he would simply be seeking death. 10 minutes passed, and Yang Lei still hadn't found the ant emperor. Yang Lei was already a bit anxious. Soon, another 20 minutes passed, and the golden-winged flying ant emperor still hadn't been found. Looking at the dense swarm of golden-winged flying ants, Yang Lei forced a bitter smile. He had underestimated this matter too much. Moreover, the invisibility talisman's effect had already passed 20 minutes. Now, only 10 minutes remained. If he still couldn't find the ant emperor within 10 minutes, then things would be grave. Once the invisibility talisman lost its effect, he simply wouldn't be able to search for the ant emperor anymore. He would only be able to return, and the quest would be considered a failure. Furthermore, the golden-winged flying ant emperor had already reached the level 9 sacred beast realm and must possess its own intelligence. One failure would certainly make it very difficult to get a second chance. Therefore, Yang Lei had to find the ant queen within the remaining 10 minutes and perform an instant kill. If he failed, there would be no second chance. Another 5 minutes passed, and there was still no discovery. The ant emperor was nowhere to be seen. At this moment, Yang Lei was burning with anxiety. Was he really going to fail this time? If so, if he couldn't even resolve the golden-winged flying ant crisis, then how could he resolve the Yen Mountain Demon Beast rampage? The golden-winged flying ants were just an appetizer, there were even more powerful demon beasts waiting for him to deal with. This was an extremely important quest. If he couldn't complete it, the loss would be enormous. In the last minute, under the observation of True Eagle Eye, Yang Lei discovered a peculiar anomaly. In the distance, several robust individuals, unlike the other golden-winged flying ants, were not attacking forward but forming a specific area. Appraisal technique. Level 7 golden-winged flying ant emperor guard. These were the ant emperor's guards, so within this area, it must be where the ant emperor was. However, what puzzled Yang Lei was, where exactly was the ant emperor? But Yang Lei was certain that the ant emperor was definitely within such an area. So Yang Lei quickly approached, then used True Eagle Eye again. A particularly large golden-winged flying ant, the size of a thumb, appeared in Yang Lei's eyes. This golden ant was vastly different from the other golden-winged flying ants. Its body was much smaller than ordinary golden-winged flying ants, only a quarter of their size. In the last 30 seconds, Yang Lei instantly arrived before the ant emperor. He took a great strength Vajra orb. A cold light flashed in his eyes, and the heavenly blade first form activated. At that instant, the invisibility talisman lost its effect, and the blade light locked onto the golden-winged flying ant emperor. Heavenly blade first form, perish for me. That blade strike shook heaven and earth and made ghosts and gods tremble. The enormous blade light split the entire earth, and countless golden-winged flying ants died under this single blade. Heaven and earth prison. A sharp cry came from the mouth of the golden ant emperor. Yang Lei felt his blade light hit the ant emperor, but it suddenly disappeared into an unknown black space. And at this moment, the system didn't send any prompt about killing the ant emperor, which meant he hadn't killed the ant emperor. The sharp cry he heard earlier was clearly from the ant emperor. In this unknown space, it was pitch black, making people feel extremely oppressed. Yang Lei took out a night pearl to illuminate the surroundings. This space was not very large, at most no more than 3 cubic meters. Because he had used the heavenly blade first form and consumed the great strength Vajra orb, Yang Lei felt his true chi within his body completely depleted at this moment. If his physical body wasn't strong, he would probably have no strength left at all. He immediately took an origin-restoring pill and swallowed it, not caring what this place was. He quickly set up a simple array formation. Fortunately, his array formation art had leveled up, otherwise, it would have been difficult to set up an array formation in such a confined space. Although this array formation was simple, it at least provided some psychological comfort. He couldn't worry too much now, he had to recover, otherwise, he wouldn't be able to open this inexplicable place. As for instant teleportation, he would have to wait until he completed the quest of killing the Ant Emperor before he could use it. Half an hour later, Yang Lei's cultivation had recovered more than half. Only then did he open his eyes. Windblade 7 kills, 5 kills combined, break for me. Yang Lei condensed all the true chi in his body and slashed at the wall. Boom. After a loud bang, the wall showed no damage at all. Yang Lei was horrified. This ghostly place was truly strange. His strongest attack had no effect at all, not even a trace. Windblade 7 kills, wind concealing kill. Windblade 7 kills, wind lightning kill. Windblade 7 kills, wind cloud kill. Yang Lei performed all 7 forms of Windblade 7 kills one by one, but none had any effect. Was he really trapped here? Did he have to use instant teleportation to escape? If that was the case, wouldn't his quest have failed? To escape my heaven and earth prison, you'll need to cultivate for another lifetime. Just as Yang Lei was extremely frustrated, a voice rang out. Who? Who is it? Didn't you come to kill me? How come you don't even know who I am? The voice said, a hint of teasing in its tone. Ant Emperor? You are the golden-winged flying Ant Emperor? Yang Lei was shocked. This golden-winged flying Ant Emperor had taken his strongest attack. Even a martial god would be injured, but listening to her voice, she seemed completely fine. How could Yang Lei not be surprised? Could it be that this Ant Emperor wasn't in the martial saint realm, but had reached the martial god realm? If not a martial god, how could she withstand his heavenly blade first form? You're not stupid, are you? That's right, I am the Ant Emperor. The voice rang out again. Come out, don't hide your head and show your tail. Yang Lei's heart tightened as he shouted. You want me to come out? All right. The voice sounded again, and then in front of Yang Lei, a golden lotus flower appeared. The lotus flower bloomed, becoming a lotus platform. A beautiful woman dressed in golden clothes slowly walked out. This girl had a head full of golden hair, long willow leaf eyebrows, a pair of large blue eyes, curly eyelashes, a straight nose, a delicate baby-like face, and fair, smooth skin. What a peerless beauty. Moreover, she was an exotic beauty with unique charm. Yang Lei secretly praised her in his heart. This woman was 100 times more powerful than those foreign models of later generations. It even made Yang Lei's heart pound. So beautiful, an angel? No, this wasn't an angel. She should be called a goddess, yes, a goddess. At this moment, the profound origin secret art and ice heart secret art in Yang Lei's body simultaneously circulated. The two types of true chi instantly made Yang Lei clear-headed. Charm technique? Was this a charm technique? Yang Lei had to admit, this woman's beauty was truly stunning, more beautiful than any woman he had ever seen. But thinking of this woman's identity, the golden-winged flying ant emperor, Yang Lei's heart trembled. This was a golden-winged flying ant, and moreover, an ant emperor. Ant emperor? That's right, I am the ant emperor you're looking for. Actually, I don't like this title. You can call me Jean Lian, the woman smiled lightly, looking at Yang Lei. Jean Lian? Pan Jean Lian? Yang Lei glanced at her upon hearing this. She indeed had the potential of Pan Jean Lian. Ant Emperor Jean Lian, what exactly do you want? Yang Lei looked at her and said coldly. What do I want? He, young master, you are mistaken. It should be, what do you want? This time, you came to kill me. I didn't provoke you at all. What do you mean by that? Confusing right and wrong. Jean Lian chuckled. Yang Lei was stunned upon hearing this, but it was also true that he was the one who came to kill her. His mind raced. Then he heard her say, that's right, I came to kill you, but the cause of this is you. If your golden-winged flying ants weren't trying to attack our young family, why would I risk coming here to kill you? You speak so righteously about wanting to kill someone. But that's also true. This is a world where the strong prey on the weak. Young master, how should I deal with you? Kill you? I can't bear to kill such a handsome young man. Jean Lian said with a difficult expression. You want to kill me? Haha, I'm afraid you don't have that ability yet. Yang Lei knew in his heart that with the black tortoise ring he wore, he could block a full-force attack from a martial god great perfection expert. This golden-winged flying ant emperor, even if she was a martial god, couldn't be so outrageous as to have reached the martial god great perfection realm. Is that so? Young master, you are too confident. Don't think that relying on that black tortoise ring can trouble me. This black tortoise ring can indeed block my attack for a moment, but if I attack continuously, can young master truly withstand it? Jean Lian looked at the ring on Yang Lei's hand, her tone a bit disdainful. Yang Lei's tone faltered upon hearing this. These words were indeed true. If her cultivation truly reached the martial god realm, this black tortoise ring wouldn't be able to hold on for long. If he didn't use instant teleportation, he definitely wouldn't be able to escape, he would only face death. However, Yang Lei still didn't believe it. He didn't believe that this golden-winged flying ant emperor's cultivation reached the martial god realm. He used an appraisal technique. Jean Lian, race, golden-winged flying ant cultivation, martial god stage 3. Space law practitioner. Ultimate skill, heaven and earth prison. Hiss. Yang Lei couldn't help but gasp. This Jean Lian had indeed reached the martial god realm, and she was even martial god stage 3. What was even more surprising wasn't that she was martial god stage 3, but the sentence after it, space law practitioner. According to Yang Lei's speculation, this space law should be the second law in the universe, second only to the time law. Although Yang Lei wasn't sure about his speculation, it was most likely the case. A space law practitioner, her cultivation definitely wasn't just martial god stage 3. As such, could it be that Jean Lian had concealed her cultivation? If that were truly the case, then her current ability to stop him was indeed possible, not just empty words. Could she be a clone of some great figure? Yang Lei was still unfamiliar with everything in this world. With insufficient cultivation, he couldn't grasp higher-level information. Since he could transmigrate to Xian Yuan Star, a clone was still possible. And according to the old drunkard, comprehending laws was extremely difficult. This Ant Emperor Jean Lian was even a space law practitioner. How terrifying was a law practitioner? Her cultivation definitely wasn't just martial god stage 3, so his previous speculation wasn't strange. Judging by this, it would be easy for her to kill him. However, Yang Lei immediately calmed down. If she wanted to kill him, she would have done so already. There was no need to appear and say so many words to him. Jean Lian, martial god stage 3 cultivation, space law practitioner, ultimate skill heaven and earth prison. Did I say that correctly? Yang Lei looked at Jean Lian before him and said. Jean Lian was shaken upon hearing this. She looked at Yang Lei, her eyes filled with disbelief. How did you know? Yang Lei didn't answer, but continued, a space law practitioner, huh? That's a law, and it's one of the 2 strongest laws. Who exactly are you? A hint of killing intent flashed in Jean Lian's eyes. This person was too terrifying, actually knowing even these details. However, this killing intent immediately disappeared. She looked at Yang Lei and smiled, he, what is young Master Yang saying? I am Jean Lian, who else could I be? It seems young Master Yang is quite afraid of me, huh? Don't worry, I can't bear to kill you, and I wouldn't dare to kill you. You let me leave, and let those golden-winged flying ants return. Don't continue to attack my Yang family's 9ly profound fire great array anymore. Yang Lei stared intently at her and said. You want me to let you go back, and also recall all my citizens? This is not an impossible matter. As long as you agree to my 3 conditions, then I will agree. Jean Lian stroked her golden hair, looking at Yang Lei seductively. 3 conditions. This scenario reminded Yang Lei of the plot in Heavenly Sword and Dragon Slaying Saber, when Zhao Men gave Zhang Wuji the black jade broken bone ointment. However, Yang Lei was not Zhang Wuji, and Jean Lian was not Zhao Men. 3 conditions, that's too many. Moreover, what if you propose conditions that make me kill people, harm myself, or other harsh conditions? Wouldn't I be in trouble then? Yang Lei shook his head and said. Unless you state them first, and I feel they are acceptable, then I will agree to you. Jean Lian found this amusing. This person was truly. Don't worry, my conditions won't make things difficult for you, nor will they make you harm yourself, nor will they ask you to kill. Even if I ask you to kill, it will be only the most evil of people. Then tell me your 3 conditions, Yang Lei said. First, I want you to help me defeat someone. Jean Lian looked at Yang Lei and said. Help you defeat someone? How can that be? If you can't even defeat her, how can I? You are Martial God Stage 3, and I am only Martial Emperor Stage 3. The difference between us is immense. I don't need to tell you, you must be clear yourself. Yang Lei quickly shook his head. It was a joke. He was just a Martial Emperor Stage 3 martial artist, going to deal with a Martial God Stage 3 expert, and one who was a super expert that even a space law practitioner couldn't defeat. Wouldn't that be seeking death? No, I certainly don't mean for you to defeat her now. You naturally can't defeat her now. I mean for you to go when your cultivation becomes strong later, when you can defeat the opponent, not now. Jean Lian shook her head and said. These words made Yang Lei breathe a sigh of relief. Alright, if that's the case, I agree to you. That's more like it, Jean Lian smiled, making Yang Lei stare in a daze. This smile made all other flowers lose their color. After a long while, Yang Lei finally regained his composure. What is your second condition? For the second condition, I want a drop of your blood, Jean Lian said. A drop of blood? Yang Lei was stunned. A drop of essence blood? If it was a drop of essence blood, then for a martial artist, it was still very important. A Martial Emperor level martial artist could at most condense 10 some drops of essence blood. Although Yang Lei's cultivation was much stronger than ordinary Martial Emperor martial artists, he could only condense over 30 drops of essence blood. Moreover, consuming essence blood not only consumed cultivation but, more importantly, consumed lifespan. The more essence blood a person had, the longer their lifespan. A person with abundant essence blood had a very long lifespan. Conversely, a person with scarce essence blood meant their lifespan was nearing its end. No, young Master Yang, you don't need to worry. I don't want a drop of your essence blood. A drop of ordinary blood will do. Seeing Yang Lei so nervous, Jean Lian explained. She naturally understood the importance of essence blood to a martial artist. A drop of essence blood was too important to a martial artist. Essence blood directly related to the heights one could reach in the future. Jean Lian's words made Yang Lei breathe a sigh of relief. It was good that it wasn't essence blood. Alright then, I agree to you. After saying that, Yang Lei forced out a drop of blood and sent it flying towards Jean Lian. Although he didn't know what she wanted his blood for, he knew that if she wanted his blood, it wouldn't be difficult. She could simply give him a few cuts, and he would bleed hundreds of drops. So, a drop of blood was insignificant. The fresh red drop of blood flew to Jean Lian. She waved her hand, and a transparent jade bottle appeared, sucking in Yang Lei's drop of blood. Remember what you promised me. With this drop of blood, I can find you anytime, no matter where you are. Even if you die, I can find you. Jean Lian chuckled. You can find me anytime? How is that possible? Yang Lei was curious. Was she really that powerful? Could she actually find his whereabouts just by relying on a drop of his blood? Yang Lei couldn't think of any secret art that could do that. If that was truly the case, then it was a very good method for finding people. Not only can I find you with this drop of blood, but I can also know whether you're alive or dead, Jean Lian said. Yang Lei actually knew that if one integrated a trace of their soul to create a special human jade, one could know the martial artist's safety. If that martial artist died, their corresponding human jade would also shatter. This way, one could know if the other party was alive and safe. If the human jade shattered, it could be confirmed that the person had died. In the 7 great immortal sects of soaring martial continent, they all had this type of human jade. Of course, this was a method only used for some core disciples and elders. After all, the creation of this human jade was not an easy task. If one's cultivation reached the martial god realm, this method was naturally easy, but if one was below the martial god realm, it would be difficult. I don't believe it, Yang Lei shook his head and said. If you ask me to take out a trace of my soul and turn it into human jade, that would be possible. But relying solely on a drop of ordinary blood, it's simply impossible. It doesn't matter whether you believe it or not. The main thing is that it's the truth, Jean Lian said, completely unconcerned. What is the third condition? Yang Lei didn't continue to dwell on this issue, but wanted to know the third condition. Jean Lian looked at Yang Lei with a hint of resentment and said, What, is Jean Lian so unbearable? Does young Master Yang dislike me so much? Doesn't he want to spend a little more time with Jean Lian? Although Yang Lei was a man from 2 worlds, he genuinely couldn't resist the allure of a peerless beauty like Jean Lian. He quickly recited the Ice Heart secret art in his heart. What exactly is the third condition? Jean Lian was somewhat surprised by Yang Lei's reaction. She hadn't expected Yang Lei's willpower to be so strong. Jean Lian was very clear about her own charm, even martial gods couldn't resist it, yet Yang Lei clearly wasn't affected at all. Jean Lian became increasingly interested in Yang Lei, not just because of that matter. This third condition will be revealed after you complete the first condition, Jean Lian shook her head and said. Later? That's not good, is it? Yang Lei looked at her and said. It was a joke. If the condition later turned out to be something that made him difficult, wouldn't he be miserable? An unknown condition was the most troublesome thing, just like Zhang Wuji before, who was about to become the groom, with a beauty in his arms, yet changed because of a single sentence from Zhao Min. Wouldn't that be tragic? You don't need to worry. I said I wouldn't make things difficult for you. If, by then, my condition is something you cannot accept, then you can refuse, Jean Lian said. That's more like it. However, after I complete the first condition, I'm afraid I don't know which year or month that will be. Perhaps I won't even be able to complete your first condition in my entire life. If that's the case, wouldn't you be at a loss? Yang Lei thought for a moment, then smiled and said. Beyond Yang Lei's expectation, Jean Lian shook her head and said, that's impossible. With your talent, reaching that level is just a matter of time. Of course, if it truly were like that, then I would accept it, but such a situation is fundamentally impossible. I, Jean Lian, have never misjudged a person. Haha, you are quite confident. Alright, I agree to you. However, I must state this first, if your demand is truly too unreasonable, then I will refuse, Yang Lei reminded her again. Naturally, Jean Lian nodded and said. As such, our transaction is considered settled, right? Can you let me leave, and then you also fulfill your condition, recalling all your citizens? Yang Lei said. Transaction? You consider our matter a transaction? Jean Lian was stunned. She hadn't expected Yang Lei to actually say that, which truly made her feel new. Is there something wrong? Yang Lei asked back. A transaction is a transaction, but... But what? Do you still have something? Jean Lian smiled mischievously and said, you were very confident earlier. I want to see what method you have to escape my heaven and earth prison. If you can escape, I can waive one condition. Waive a condition? As long as I can escape your heaven and earth prison? Yang Lei was slightly stunned. Yes, as long as you can escape the heaven and earth prison, I can remove one requirement. You only need to agree to my first two requirements, and the third condition can be cancelled, Jean Lian nodded emphatically. Alright, since that's the case, I agree. Since there was such a good thing, he had no reason not to agree. Even if he failed, he wouldn't suffer any losses. If he succeeded, then he would be free from one unknown matter. As such, why not do it? The rules are simple. No matter what method you use, as long as you can escape the heaven and earth prison, then it counts as you winning. If you can't escape within an hour, then you lose. Do you have any objections? Jean Lian looked at Yang Lei and said. No objections, Yang Lei nodded and said. Then that's good. If there are no objections, we can begin now, Jean Lian said. Yang Lei nodded slightly. He was very confident in his ultimate escape skill, instant teleportation. Even within the 9 extreme profound lightning array, he could come and go freely, completely unrestrained. If he hadn't broken through to the martial emperor realm before, Yang Lei might still be worried about not being able to escape this place, but now his cultivation had reached the martial emperor realm, and he was even martial emperor stage 3. Using instant teleportation should be effortless. Instant teleportation. Ding, player, please note, you are currently in a special space and cannot use instant teleportation to transmit. Upon hearing the system's prompt, Yang Lei was shocked. He actually couldn't use instant teleportation to transmit. This also meant that if Jean Lian didn't let him out, he simply wouldn't be able to leave. Yang Lei was overly startled. Until now, Yang Lei had always thought that instant teleportation could escape from any place. He hadn't expected to be trapped in the heaven and earth prison this time. Yang Lei tried once more, unwilling to give up. Instant teleportation. Ding, player, please note, because the player is currently in a special space, instant teleportation cannot be used for transmission. Indeed, he still couldn't transmit. Instant teleportation was useless. Was he really going to admit defeat? Helplessly, Yang Lei sat down and opened the system, hoping to find a way within the system to resolve this heaven and earth prison. Yang Lei was not a person who easily admitted defeat. As long as it wasn't the very last moment, he wouldn't admit defeat. Exchange system. He scrolled down. Skills that can break through space confinement. This heaven and earth prison could probably be considered a type of space confinement skill. But what disappointed Yang Lei was that the system, whether it was low-level, mid-level, or high-level skills, none could break through this heaven and earth prison. No skills, then there were talismans. That's right, talismans. Talismans might also be able to break through this heaven and earth prison. Sure enough, there were two types of talismans that could break through the heaven and earth prison. One was the Spirit Void Talisman, and the other was the Penetration Talisman. However, both talismans were 10-star Spirit Talismans, and the points required to exchange for a 10-star Spirit Talisman could be said to be an astronomical price. Among these two talismans, the cheaper one still required 15 million points. If it weren't for being stubborn, no one would be foolish enough to use 15 million points to exchange for a talisman to break Jin Lian's heaven and earth prison. Of course, if Jin Lian were still his enemy, that would be different. But the current problem was that Jin Lian had already reached an agreement with him, so there was no need to make unnecessary losses. Therefore, Yang Lei had no intention of winning. He sat down to recover his true qi. He had recovered more than half before, but not completely. He might as well use this opportunity to recover some more. An hour later, Jin Lian's exquisite figure appeared before Yang Lei. How is it? An hour has passed. If you still can't break through the heaven and earth prison and get out, then you lose, right? Yang Lei opened his eyes and stood up. You win, I concede. You concede? Upon hearing Yang Lei's words, Jin Lian was surprised. In her eyes, Yang Lei shouldn't be the kind of person to easily admit defeat. In fact, Yang Lei's personality was indeed like that, but his sudden concession caught Jin Lian completely off guard. I concede, Yang Lei nodded. Actually, I can break through your heaven and earth prison, but it would cost too much, completely unnecessary, because even if I fail, I won't suffer any losses. Jin Lian was at a loss. She never expected Yang Lei to give such an answer. Alright, now take me out, Yang Lei said with a smile. Alright, I'll take you out now, but you must remember the conditions you promised me. Otherwise, you'll face the consequences. Jin Lian lifted her ultimate skill, heaven and earth prison. Immediately, Yang Lei felt a blur before his eyes, and he appeared on the vast land. This was indeed the Yang family's back mountain. The dense swarm of golden-winged flying ants had long disappeared, but the desolate and sorrowful scene remained. The entire Yang family back mountain, which was originally full of life, was now in such a state because of the countless golden-winged flying ants. Yang Lei sighed with emotion and was also shocked by the destructive power of the golden-winged flying ants. 10 minutes later, Yang Lei returned to the Yang family. He's back, he's back. Yang Lei is back. Seeing Yang Lei's figure, the Yang family members were all excited. Today, Yang Lei was the greatest hero of the Yang family. Without him, the golden-winged flying ant crisis wouldn't know when it would be resolved, and perhaps the entire Yang family might have been destroyed under their terrifying attacks. Little Lei, you're back. You're not injured, are you? Seeing his grandson return safely to the family, Yang Wudi's eyes were slightly moist. He was the hero of the entire Yang family. Without him, the consequences for the Yang family would have been unimaginable. No, I'm fine. Grandfather, rest assured, Yang Lei said with a smile. Good boy. I knew you'd be fine. Oh, by the way, little Lei, how did you make those little ants retreat? It couldn't have been by killing the Ant Emperor, right? If you killed the Ant Emperor, those little insects probably wouldn't have retreated in such an organized manner. They would definitely have been in chaos. Yang Wuyin looked at Yang Lei and said. Fourth grandfather, actually, it's because I reached an agreement with the Ant Emperor. Because of that, the Ant Emperor agreed to gather all the golden-winged flying ants. Yang Lei thought for a moment and said. Reached an agreement? Yang Wudi and Yang Wuyin were both stunned. This truly surprised the two of them. Not only the two of them, but everyone else was also surprised, somewhat finding it hard to believe. Yes, reached an agreement, Yang Lei nodded and said. What kind of agreement? Yang Wuyin was a bit impatient and immediately asked again. But Yang Wudi spoke up, it's inconvenient to talk here. Let's talk when we get back. After saying that, Yang Wudi pulled Yang Lei's hand and walked towards the Yang family's main courtyard. Along the way, Yang Lei didn't say anything, but in his heart, he pondered how to explain later. After all, his 3 conditions with Jean Lian couldn't be revealed. Moreover, even if he did reveal them, they might not necessarily believe him. Little Lei, tell us honestly, what exactly happened? Yang Wudi looked at Yang Lei and said. The process of this matter was like this. I used the invisibility talisman to kill the Ant Emperor, right? But when I found the Ant Emperor and used my strongest ultimate skill to sneak attack her, I didn't expect to fail and was trapped by her. Ah. Yang Wudi and Yang Wuin's hearts tightened upon hearing this. She didn't do anything to you, did she? Yang Lei shook his head and said, no, she couldn't do anything to me. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to return. After a pause, Yang Lei continued, actually, we were all wrong. That Ant Emperor's cultivation isn't in the martial saint realm, but in the martial god realm, and she's even martial god stage 3. Yang Wudi and Yang Wuin both gasped upon hearing this. A martial god realm Ant Emperor? How powerful would such an Ant Emperor be? If she truly wanted to destroy the Yang family, it would be an extremely easy matter. Thinking back, the Ant Emperor must have shown mercy. Then what happened next? How did she agree to retreat the troops, and let you return? This was the crucial question, and both of them stared intently at Yang Lei. Yang Lei shook his head and said, I'm not sure. She just asked me to agree to 3 conditions, and when I have the ability, I just need to fulfill these 3 conditions. That simple? Yang Wudi and Yang Wuin immediately looked bewildered. This was too suspicious. It was too easy to just have Yang Lei agree to 3 conditions. Yang Lei nodded slightly, it's that simple. Isn't she afraid you'll go back on your word? Yang Wuin looked at Yang Lei and said. I said the same thing at the time, but she said that if I go back on my word, then I'll suffer the consequences myself, Yang Lei said helplessly. Yang Wudi understood upon hearing this. Who was that Ant Emperor? A martial god stage 3 expert, and with so many subordinates. If Yang Lei went back on his word, even if she couldn't deal with Yang Lei, the entire Yang family would be in trouble. For her, destroying the Yang family was just a matter of words. In her eyes, this Chanyuan kingdom's Yang family, one of the 4 great clans, was truly not worth mentioning. The Yang family's crisis was resolved, but the crisis of the entire Chanyuan kingdom still remained. Today, Chanyuan kingdom was already in a state of panic, with people fleeing for their lives everywhere. The entire Yen Mountain had become a forbidden zone for ordinary people. Once ordinary people entered Yen Mountain, none could survive. And Yang Lei's quest was only partially completed, he didn't know when the entire quest would be finished. How powerful were the demon beasts deep within Yen Mountain? Yang Lei wasn't clear, but what was certain was that there seemed to be many divine beasts in this demon beast rampage. Yang Lei had obtained quite a bit of information from Jean Lian previously. This Yen Mountain demon beast rampage was led by 5 divine beasts. Jean Lian was one of them. Now that she had withdrawn, there were only 4 left, but these 4 were all very difficult to deal with. Among them, the leader was a tiger demon called Heavenly King Tiger, a martial god great perfection expert, extremely terrifying. It could be said that if the old folks of the 7 great immortal sects didn't move, no one would be his match. The other 3 were also not to be underestimated. There was a martial god stage 5 ape, a martial god stage 3 boar, and another poisonous charm spider, a martial god stage 2 with potent poison. All 4 of them were difficult to deal with. The ape was tyrannical, a typical violent brute, immensely strong, and extremely destructive. The martial god stage 3 boar was skilled in earth-burrowing technique. The boar's original form was a low-level ancient carnivorous animal, but this boar had obtained a powerful demon core, which transformed it into a powerful demon beast. After more than 200 years of experience, it achieved martial god, and its strength was no joke. The most worrying was the poisonous charm spider. Her poison techniques were extremely abnormal. Although she was only martial god stage 2, she could contend against a martial god late stage martial artist without falling into a disadvantage, even subtly gaining the upper hand. This was because her poison techniques were extremely terrifying. Her poison techniques were not as simple as those used by ordinary poison masters. Ordinary poison masters' poison techniques generally couldn't harm martial god realm experts, but the poisonous charm spider's poison was different. Her poison techniques could cause considerable damage to martial god late-stage experts, and against martial gods of the same level, one careless mistake could lead to death. And today, Qianyuan Kingdom basically didn't have many martial gods. Including Yang Yu, plus the old man from the Qian family. And the one from the Zhao family who had also broken through, there were only 3 martial gods. Moreover, these 3 martial gods were only in the early martial god stage. It was impossible to contend against those 4. However, fortunately, he had received news that Xuanji sect would dispatch disciples to handle this matter, and there would also be disciples from the other 6 great immortal sections. If even the 7 great immortal sects couldn't handle this matter, then Yang Lei would have nothing more to say. However, Yang Lei clearly understood that this demon beast rampage wasn't limited to Qianyuan Kingdom. The vast Yan Mountain bordered not only Qianyuan Kingdom but also several other kingdoms. Of course, on soaring martial continent, Qianyuan Kingdom was the largest kingdom, and because Yan Mountain was closest to Qianyuan Kingdom and had the most extensive shared border, Qianyuan Kingdom could be said to be the main battlefield for this demon beast rampage. Therefore, the disciples of the 7 great immortal sects gathered in Qianyuan Kingdom for aid should be the most numerous. What Yang Lei hoped for most was that some super experts would arrive this time to knock out those abnormal creatures. He didn't want a bunch of small fries, otherwise, they probably wouldn't even be enough as an appetizer for those 4. To complete this quest, the first priority was to deal with those 4 individuals, especially the strongest heavenly king tiger. As long as he was dealt with, this demon beast rampage quest would be considered complete. The remaining 3, though powerful, would no longer be a threat without the heavenly king tiger leading them. However, dealing with him was like talking nonsense for the current Yang Lei. It was simply impossible. Unless the system produced an ultimate killing skill, or an ultimate killing talisman, a hidden weapon, for example, like the torrential rain pear blossom needles Yang Lei obtained in the martial master realm, which could kill a martial emperor. Now that he had reached martial emperor, if he could obtain a powerful hidden weapon, it might still be possible. But Yang Lei knew that this was just wishful thinking. Among the items he had obtained, and the items available for exchange in the system, there weren't no items that could instantly kill a martial god great perfection expert. That was the purple lightning thunderstrike cannon. It was an extremely powerful weapon, like a rocket from his time on Earth. However, this thing required spirit stones as an energy source, and it needed an astronomical amount of points to exchange for it, a full 1.5 billion. That's right, not 150,000, not 15 million, but a full 1.5 billion points. Before, Yang Lei had only seen items with a maximum exchange price of 100 million points. Today, an item with a 1.5 billion points exchange price appeared, causing Yang Lei immense headache. This item was too suitable for the current situation. If he could exchange for it, dealing with a martial god great perfection would be as easy as slicing melons and dicing vegetables. This way, he could quickly advance to martial saint, or even martial god realm. This system was truly disgusting. Yang Lei was furious. So were there any other items? Yang Lei thought about it. There was only one other usable item, using sleeping dragon drunk to refine a powerful sleeping drug that could incapacitate a martial god great perfection expert. However, unfortunately, Yang Lei's current cultivation was too weak. Refining this sleeping drug was naturally the main occupation of a poison master. Of course, healers and alchemists could also do it, but for healers and alchemists to refine these, it was too difficult. They would need to be 3 levels higher than a poison master to refine it. For refining poisons, a poison master was the most suitable. However, although Yang Lei had obtained the poison scripture and cultivated the potent poison technique, he hadn't become a true poison master. Furthermore, refining this type of sleeping gas required reaching a high level. Poison master stage, which he couldn't do even if he became a poison master. This type of sleeping gas was called a mortal overthrow. Although it was exaggerated to say that even immortals would find it difficult to resist, it was indeed a very powerful sleeping gas. Being able to incapacitate a martial god naturally meant it was no ordinary substance. Unfortunately, he couldn't refine it now. After thinking about it, he wondered if the old drunkard had a way to solve it. Entering the old drunkard's courtyard, it had been a few days. It was also time for him to fulfill his promise of 2 jars of drunken life, dream death wine. Yang Lei once again exchanged for 2 jars from the system, leaving 1 jar of wine that could be used by Xia Zhu and the other girls. Elder Lin. Young master, come in. This is the drunken life, dream death wine you needed. Yang Lei directly took out the 2 jars. They were already prepared. Excellent, excellent. The old drunkard was not at all polite. His hands moved so quickly that it was hard to believe. How did he take them? Yang Lei couldn't even see clearly. The speed was truly too fast, too astonishing. Drunken life, dream death wine, ah. The old drunkard carefully held 1 jar in his hand, and the other had already been put into his storage space, fearing it would be taken by someone. Elder Lin. Oh. Oh. Young master, do you have anything else? Recovering his senses, the old drunkard put the remaining jar of wine into his storage space. Yang Lei smiled at the old drunkard's expression, not caring at all. As long as he liked good wine, it was a good thing. He could exchange for many good wines to attract him and obtain what he wanted from him. Naturally, I have something to discuss. I want to ask if Elder Lin has a way to deal with Heavenly King Tiger and his group. With my cultivation, it's impossible to force them back. Even if the Qianyuan Kingdom's imperial family, plus the 4 great clans, and all the major powers were all dispatched, it would be impossible. Although Yang Lei wasn't clear about the old drunkard's background, what he said before undoubtedly indicated that he knew a lot about this demon beast rampage, and might even have a way to resolve it. Or, even if he couldn't, he would definitely know the weaknesses of Heavenly King Tiger and his group. Sun Tzu's Art of War said, "Know yourself and know your enemy, and you can fight 100 battles without danger." As long as he could understand the opponent's weaknesses and address them specifically, the probability of winning would be much greater. The old drunkard took his wine gourd and took a sip. This wine was naturally not the peerless drunken life, dream death wine, but it was also a rare fine wine that Yang Lei had tasted before. Putting down the gourd, the old drunkard slowly said, "Young master, there's no need to rush. Heavenly King Tiger and his group are not someone young master can deal with. However, young master doesn't need to worry. Those few individuals, Heavenly King Tiger and his group, will be dealt with by someone. So young master just needs to wait patiently." Wait. Yes, wait. The people from the 7 great sects should be arriving soon. The first should be Xuanji sect, followed by the demonic sect, Demon Cloud sect, the old drunkard said. Demon Cloud sect? Demonic Tao? Is this also one of the 7 great immortal sects? This is too absurd. Yang Lei was shocked. This Demon Cloud sect didn't sound like the name of an orthodox immortal sect at all. Demon Cloud sect is not one of the 7 great immortal sects, but its strength is not to be underestimated. However, because the disciples of Demon Cloud sect are both righteous and evil, coupled with the name Demon Cloud sect, it was not classified as an immortal Tao sect. If the name were changed, then the 7 great immortal sects of soaring martial continent would become 8. As for why Demon Cloud sect disciples, despite being both righteous and evil, would meddle in this matter, that is something even I don't know, the old drunkard's expression seemed somewhat puzzled, which surprised Yang Lei. What kind of sect was this Demon Cloud sect, and why were they involved this time? Demon Cloud sect, even the demonic Tao is involved. Then will Soul-Rending Valley also make a move? Yang Lei remembered hearing news about Soul-Rending Valley during the Xuanji sect Immortal Ascension token auction. What was the origin of this Soul-Rending Valley? Its strength was formidable, not fearing Xuanji sect, and even capable of standing on equal footing with the 7 great immortal sections. Elder Lin should know about Soul-Rending Valley. I wonder if Soul-Rending Valley will also make a move. Yang Lei said. Soul-Rending Valley? Are you curious about Soul-Rending Valley? The old drunkard glanced at Yang Lei in surprise. Have you met people from Soul-Rending Valley? Had any contact with them? Yang Lei shook his head. I only heard about it. I learned about it during the Xuanji sect Immortal Ascension token auction last time. I heard that Soul-Rending Valley's strength is formidable, even comparable to the 7 great immortal sects of soaring martial continent, so I'm curious. What kind of existence is this Soul-Rending Valley? The people of Soul-Rending Valley behave extremely strangely, and their cultivation is incredibly powerful. Their code of conduct is, if others don't offend me, I don't offend them, if others offend me, I destroy their entire family. 3,000 years ago, someone provoked the people of Soul-Rending Valley. It was a not-so-small sect. Its strength, although weaker than the 7 great immortal sects, wasn't too much weaker. Because they provoked Soul-Rending Valley, they were annihilated. From then on, Soul-Rending Valley's reputation shook the world. Outside Yen Mountain, human martial artists and demon beasts were in a standoff. The leaders were the experts of the 4 great clans and the imperial family, including 3 martial gods, Yang Yu, the Zhao family old ancestor, and the Qian family old ancestor. As Yang Lei arrived, he heard roars and growls. Attack, attack. Roar, roar. Roar, roar. Thump, thump. Thump, thump. Teams of demon beasts, organized, charged towards the human martial artists' defensive line. They moved like an army, with extremely neat steps, which surprised Yang Lei immensely. In the distance, 4 figures stood high, particularly eye-catching. One of them had a tall physique, with a golden king character on his forehead that was particularly striking. That was Heavenly King Tiger, a martial god great perfection expert. As for the other 3, it was obvious they were the boar, the violent ape, and the poisonous charm spider. The boar was plump and short, looking like a pig. The violent ape was a huge gorilla. The poisonous charm spider was a charming and seductive woman, appearing exceedingly beautiful. Suddenly, the demon beast formation in the distance became chaotic, and sounds of fighting rang out. A dominant white light flashed, and countless demon beasts died or were injured. Yang Lei looked up and rejoiced. That was Elder Channy. Reinforcements. Our reinforcements have arrived. The human martial artists were all excited to see their reinforcements. At this moment, another long roar was heard, and this roar came from the Heavenly King Tiger. After this long roar, all the demon beasts retreated a few meters, then opened a path, and Heavenly King Tiger walked towards Elder Channy and his group. Xuanji sect? Heavenly King Tiger, you are so presumptuous, daring to attack within the jurisdiction of my Xuanji sect. Elder Channy looked coldly at Heavenly King Tiger. Although Elder Channy's cultivation hadn't reached the martial god great perfection realm, he was also martial god stage 6. A martial god mid-stage expert. Normally speaking, Elder Channy would not be Heavenly King Tiger's match, but his current tone certainly suggested he had something to rely on. As for the people standing behind Elder Channy, their numbers were not large, only about 100 people, but these 100 people were not to be underestimated. The weakest among them had reached Martial Emperor early stage, and the strongest had reached Martial Saint great perfection. Haha, haha. Heavenly King Tiger laughed wildly upon hearing this. You say this place is within your Xuanji sect's jurisdiction? What a joke, this is truly a huge joke. The entire Qianyuan kingdom, tens of thousands of years ago, was all within my Yen Mountain's territory. You mean my Yen Mountain is within your Xuanji sect's sphere of influence? What big talk. You, a junior, actually dare to say such things? Aren't you afraid of getting a swollen tongue from the big wind? Humph, what's wrong with saying it? This Qianyuan kingdom has always been under my Xuanji sect's jurisdiction. Heavenly King Tiger, you want to break the covenant like this? Do you want to ignite a full-scale war between demon beasts and human martial artists? Elder Channy said. Yang Lei was stunned. A covenant? What was going on? Did demon beasts and humans have some kind of covenant? A non-aggression pact? Haha, I'm afraid, huh? Humph, today, I, Heavenly King Tiger, merely want to reclaim the territory that originally belonged to our Yen Mountain. You humans have occupied it for too long. It's time to return it. Heavenly King Tiger said. Roar, roar, roar. The roar of myriad beasts once again echoed. Kill, kill, kill for me. Today, I'll see how you can stop me. Haha, the 7 great immortal sects, only your Xuanji sect has come today, and, they're all just little fellows. These are probably just inner sect disciples and true disciples of your Xuanji sect. Today, all of your Xuanji sect will die here. Haha, haha. Heavenly King Tiger laughed maniacally. What big talk. Elder Channy waved his hand, and a huge spinning disc appeared. This spinning disc was not ordinary, it was Elder Channy's innate weapon, the Heavenly Punishment Wheel. As soon as the Heavenly Punishment Wheel appeared, it continuously grew larger and spun rapidly, causing countless casualties wherever it went. Bullying juniors, what's the point? I, Violent Ape, will meet you. With that, the Violent Ape stood up and charged towards Elder Channy step by step, his footsteps shaking the ground. Wind Fire Staff, Wind Fire Strike. A huge staff's phantom shot into the sky, attacking Elder Channy's Heavenly Punishment Wheel. Boom, boom, boom. The Wind Fire Staff's phantom collided with the Heavenly Punishment Wheel. Strong wind swept through, and countless demon beasts were scattered, hundreds dying or being injured. Countless shattered stones were stirred up, all caused by the impact. Yang Lei couldn't help but gasp. Such a collision was truly terrifying. Even his heavenly blade first form was far from comparable. Thump, thump. Thump, thump. The violent ape retreated a few steps, let out a grunt, and immediately spat out a mouthful of blood. Good, very powerful. As expected of a Xuanji sect elder. I, violent ape, concede this move, but you're not much stronger than me. I imagine you're also seriously injured today, right? I, violent ape, am not the strongest here, but what about you all? Besides you, who else dares to contend with Boss Heavenly King Tiger? Not even you, Elder Channy. Elder Channy's expression changed. Indeed, he had been too reckless. He hadn't expected Heavenly King Tiger to move this time. Facing Heavenly King Tiger, he was confident of winning with that move, but after winning, who would stop the three of them, including the violent ape? The answer was naturally no one. Among the three, the violent ape's cultivation was the strongest, but not the most terrifying. The most terrifying was the poisonous charm spider, whose poison techniques, though not unparalleled, were unmatched. In Qianyuan Kingdom. Xuanji sect old geezer, if you don't want to die, then get out of here. Otherwise, all of you will die. The boar chuckled, letting out a cold roar. You seek death. Blazing flame arrow. Behind Elder Channy, a person roared in fury, gripping his longbow, and a red light shot out. Such a small trick, and you dare to show off? Kid, let me tell you, Master Boar is not easy to provoke. The boar snorted coldly, extending a hand, gripping it tightly, intending to grasp the blazing flame arrow barehanded. But the person behind Elder Channy let out a cold laugh and drew his bow again. Flames fill the sky, 9 stars link, die. That person immediately shot out 9 arrows, each more powerful than the last, faster than lightning, imperceptible to the naked eye. Only with his true eagle eye could Yang Lei barely discern a trace of their trajectory. Others simply couldn't see the true blazing flame arrows. The 9 stars link was a peerless archery technique. In Yang Lei's eyes, the 9 red lights chased one another, eventually merging into a single, solidified blazing flame arrow. And the boar's face finally changed dramatically. After taking the previous arrow, he had forced himself to stay put, his eyes slightly narrowed, his plump body slightly hunched. A weapon appeared in his hand, looking somewhat like Zhu Beiji's 9-toothed rake from Journey to the West. That plump body wielded the rake, meeting the blazing flame arrow. Yang Lei was very curious about that weapon, and he used an appraisal technique. Ding, appraisal successful. 9-tusked rake, ice attribute divine artifact, sealed state. Rumored to be the weapon of the ancient martial artist Zhu Wu, its power is immense, capable of unleashing 9 times the user's own combat power. He actually dares to block this 9 stars link? He's practically seeking death. That person saw the boar actually block the 9 stars link and couldn't help but let out a cold snort. Explode, explode for me. Following his shout, the 9-in-1 blazing flame arrow actually exploded. The enormous energy shocked everyone. The surrounding hundreds of miles were illuminated, showing the immense power of this attack. This attack was even more shocking than the previous clash between Elder Channy and the violent ape. Yang Lei was also astonished by that person and the longbow in his hand. He used an appraisal technique. Ho Yuan, Martial Saint Great Perfection, Blazing Sun Clan. Possesses innate divine ability of color technique. Blazing Sun Clan, and his surname is Ho. How is this related to the legends on his Earth? On Earth, there was Ho Yi, and Ho Yuan also had the surname Ho, and was of the Blazing Sun Clan. As for the bow and arrow, they were not the Blazing Sun Divine Bow and Blazing Sun Divine Arrow that Yang Lei had predicted. Instead, they were the Blazing Flame Divine Bow and Blazing Flame Divine Arrow. However, they were both divine artifacts, but not like the divine artifact that the boar held earlier, which was in a sealed state. These were in a complete state. No wonder Ho Yuan, despite being Martial Saint Great Perfection, could unleash such powerful combat strength. Thump, thump. Thump, thump. Puff. Although he had blocked the 9 stars link, the boar was in a difficult state. Seeing the human martial artist cheering, he finally spat out a mouthful of fresh blood. Wiping the blood from the corner of his mouth, the boar looked coldly at Ho Yuan. You actually injured me? I want you to die. The boar's killing intent was completely undisguised. Humph, merely a defeated general, how dare you be so arrogant? But Ho Yuan was fearless, utterly unconcerned, his expression full of disdain. Wah, 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 you little brat are too arrogant. Take my rake. The nine-tusked rake in the boar's hand was raised high and immediately attacked Ho Yuan. Its speed was extremely fast, and its power was terrifying. This attack was launched with 10/10 of the boar's power. Previously, he had hastily received the move and hadn't been able to unleash his full power, which was why he was injured. But this time, this full-force attack was naturally not to be underestimated. Be careful. Elder Channy was alarmed. Ho Yuan, as a true disciple of Xuanji sect, naturally had formidable combat power, but his cultivation was still martial saint great perfection, while the boar had already advanced to the martial god realm. The difference in realms was difficult to compensate for. The reason he was able to gain the upper hand in that previous move was because the boar had underestimated him. The boar was, after all, a martial god realm expert. How could Ho Yuan receive his full force attack? His previous arrow had already exhausted 90% of his true chi. Ah! Get out of the way. Elder Channy unleashed a palm strike towards Ho Yuan, then the heavenly punishment will flew out again, meeting the boar's nine-tusked rake. Boom, boom, boom. After a series of collision sounds, Elder Channy was shaken back several steps, a sweetness in his mouth, and he once again spat out a mouthful of fresh blood. This time, receiving the boar's full-force attack aggravated his injuries. At this moment, the boar, having gained the upper hand, showed no mercy. Seeing Elder Channy injured by his attack, how could he let go of this excellent opportunity? He once again swung his rake, with an aura as if he wanted to kill and cripple Elder Channy, extremely ferocious. Elder Channy was severely injured and had to retreat, but behind him were Xuanji sect disciples. He was now in a very difficult situation. But at this moment, Yang Lei flew out. Earlier, Yang Lei saw that the timing was not right and immediately took a great strength Vajra orb. Body-fixing talisman, fix him for me. How is this possible? The boar was shocked, finding that he couldn't move. His heart was filled with disbelief. He couldn't move, yet he was a martial god realm expert. Heavenly Blade first form. Yang Lei roared. As soon as he made his move, it was his strongest technique. Yang Lei clearly understood that this body-fixing talisman couldn't fix a martial god realm expert like the boar for too long, at most 1 second, or even shorter. But this instant was enough. The Heavenly Blade first form was activated right in this instant. A terrifying blade light. Today, Yang Lei's cultivation had reached Martial Emperor Stage 3. It was naturally incomparable to his Martial Emperor realm days. Coupled with the great strength Vajra orb, the Heavenly Blade first form unleashed was naturally incredibly powerful, capable of destroying heaven and earth. A gigantic blade light slashed towards the boar. This blade light made the boar's hair stand on end, and his heart turned cold. He couldn't move, and the power of this attack was too terrifying. Although he had some confidence in blocking it, even if he did, he would be severely injured. This was naturally not what the boar wanted to see, so he desperately wanted to escape, but he was extremely helpless because he was currently fixed and couldn't move. His heart was filled with anxiety. Was he really going to be hit by this brat? This blade was no joke. The boar clearly felt that this blade was even more terrifying than the 9 stars link blazing flame arrow. If that blade struck, he estimated he would have to recuperate for a while, which he was unwilling to do. Ah! The boar let out a loud roar, finding that he could move. He was overjoyed and quickly tried to dodge. However, Yang Lei's Heavenly Blade first form was not so easily dodged. The Heavenly Blade first form contained the Heavenly Tao Law, and it had already locked onto the boar. At this moment, Heavenly King Tiger saw Yang Lei's blade strike and was shocked. He was already a martial god great perfection expert and one of the top geniuses in Yan Mountain. He naturally understood what the power of law was. He was also someone who had comprehended a trace of the power of law, otherwise, he wouldn't have been valued by those great figures. Blade law. Heavenly King Tiger intended to help the boar, but the Heavenly Blade first form was too fast and instantly struck. Ding, wind-concealing blade has triggered an instant kill. Ding, congratulations to the player for killing the Martial God Stage 3 boar. Obtained 30 billion experience points, 300 million chi value, and 300 million points. Ding, congratulations to the player for obtaining the Divine Artifact 9 Tusked Rake. Ding, congratulations to the player for obtaining the 3 tastes true water. Ding, congratulations to the player for leveling up, reaching Martial Emperor Stage 4. Ding, congratulations to the player for leveling up, reaching Martial Emperor Stage 5. Ding, congratulations to the player for leveling up, reaching Martial Emperor Stage 6. Ding, congratulations to the player for leveling up, reaching Martial Emperor Stage 7. Ding, congratulations to the player. Wind Concealing Blade's grade has increased, becoming a Supreme Grade Spirit Artifact. Stunned, everyone was stunned. They hadn't expected a Martial God Stage 3 Divine Beast to die so quickly, so abruptly. Everyone hadn't even had time to react. Heavenly King Tiger's eyes also widened. He never expected the boar to die like that, and so unceremoniously, killed by a junior who had just reached the Martial Emperor realm. He didn't even have any power to fight back. This truly shocked everyone. Who was this youth? He was actually so terrifying, killing a martial god with a Martial Emperor realm cultivation. At such a young age, he had already comprehended the blade law. What kind of monstrous talent was this? Although Heavenly King Tiger had reached the Martial God Great Perfection realm in a short 200 years, making him the top genius in Yen Mountain, today he met this monster Yang Lei, who, as a human, actually comprehended the blade law in the Martial Emperor realm and killed a martial god. What a sensational matter this was. After a long silence, the human martial artists immediately erupted in cheers, praising him endlessly. Meanwhile, the demon beasts couldn't believe their eyes. They couldn't believe that the boar, such an incredibly powerful demon beast, a divine beast, had just been killed like that, so suddenly. Yang Lei was also stunned by everything that had happened so suddenly. He had only intended to teach the boar a lesson, and after one strike, he was ready to flee. But he never expected that at the crucial moment, the wind-concealing blade would actually trigger an instant kill. A Martial God Stage 3 expert was actually killed by him, making him jump 4 stages in rank, from Martial Emperor Stage 3 directly to Martial Emperor Stage 7. Such speed was unprecedented. Not only had his rank increased, but even the grade of his wind-concealing blade had increased. One must know that the wind-concealing blade had been with him since he was a martial artist. Today, his cultivation had reached the Martial Emperor realm, and it had only increased by 1 stage. Now it had finally increased, and Yang Lei was overjoyed. Of course, what was even more surprising was the surge in points. Killing the Martial God Stage 3 boar caused his points to jump from over 40 million to over 340 million. This was more joyful than winning a 5 million lottery prize. It was truly unbelievable. His points had reached 300 million, which meant the system could be upgraded. Once the system was upgraded, he would be able to obtain even more powerful items. By then, there might be something that could deal with Martial God Realm martial artists. If there was something that could deal with Heavenly King Tiger, and then kill him, what kind of scene would that be? Heavenly King Tiger was a martial god great perfection expert. If he killed him, he would get over 90 billion experience points. This was 90 billion. He might even be able to advance to Martial Saint. Yang Lei couldn't help but drool at the thought. A 17-year-old Martial Saint, what kind of concept was that? Such a genius probably only existed in ancient times, Yang Lei thought with delight. Roar, roar, roar. Suddenly, a thunderous sound echoed in his ears. It was the roar of myriad beasts. Yang Lei immediately snapped out of his daydream. At this moment, Heavenly King Tiger was furious. With a long roar, he transformed into a streak of light and rushed towards Yang Lei. In Heavenly King Tiger's heart, there was only one thought: Yang Lei was a genius, an unparalleled genius. If such a human genius were allowed to grow, how terrifying would he become? What would happen to his demon beast clan? Although humans and demon beasts had signed a covenant, if another unparalleled expert appeared on the human side, the balance would be broken, and his demon beast clan would surely be destroyed. Therefore, before this genius could grow, he must be eliminated, stifled in his infancy. Be careful, Yang Lei, be careful. Yang Wudi saw Heavenly King Tiger's surprise attack on Yang Lei and quickly shouted. Yang Lei only felt a powerful aura crushing down, terrifying, extremely terrifying. Was this the pressure of a martial god great perfection expert? The difference was still too great. Yang Lei couldn't help but mutter in his heart. If his previous blade strike had been a little slower, allowing Heavenly King Tiger to save the boar, then Heavenly King Tiger would have taken that blade strike. He was a martial god great perfection expert, but an instant kill ignored defensive levels. If an instant kill was triggered, no matter if it was a martial god or an expert beyond martial god, they would only face death. Retreat. Yang Lei clearly understood that without the Heavenly Blade first form, he absolutely couldn't contend with the martial god great perfection Heavenly King Tiger. Windblade 7 kills, 5 kills combined. Seeing the huge palm strike towards him, Yang Lei retreated, simultaneously activating his most powerful move apart from the Heavenly Blade first form, the Windblade 7 kills. Trying to struggle in vain? Naive. If I, Heavenly King Tiger, want to kill someone, who can stop me? Heavenly King Tiger roared, his speed suddenly increasing by several folds. Boom, boom, boom. Endless pressure came crashing down, making Yang Lei feel almost breathless. Heavenly King Tiger, you shameless fellow. You actually bully the weak, using your martial god great perfection realm to bully a small martial emperor. Shameless. At this moment, Elder Tianyi was completely unable to stop him and could only shout. Martial emperor? Humph, he could kill the boar, and you still call him a martial emperor? Heavenly King Tiger sneered, his speed not slowing down. A talent like him must die. Blame him for not knowing how to hide his abilities, not knowing that a tall tree catches the wind. You want to kill me? No way. Seeing Heavenly King Tiger's giant palm about to land on him, Yang Lei sneered. It was a joke. Unless he was like Jin Lian, cultivating space law, he couldn't possibly be trapped. If he couldn't be trapped, then killing him was impossible. Just as Yang Lei was about to use instant teleportation to escape, a voice appeared. Stop. Then another giant hand appeared, and this giant hand forcefully blocked Heavenly King Tiger's giant palm. Then a figure appeared in front of Yang Lei. The old drunkard. Who else could it be but the old drunkard? At this moment, Heavenly King Tiger was shocked. He was very clear about his own attack. Even a martial god great perfection expert on par with him might not be able to block it, let alone block it so easily. The person in front of him had blocked his powerful attack so effortlessly, without any difficulty. From this, it could be seen how terrifying this person's cultivation was. He had definitely broken through the martial god realm. If not, how could he have so easily blocked his palm strike? Could he be the human helper for that old fellow? That's right. That young man in front, at such a young age with such cultivation, such high talent, such a genius. How could humans not protect him well? In every clan, geniuses were protected, especially top-tier geniuses, and that young man was undoubtedly such a person. Senior, who are you? At this moment, Heavenly King Tiger didn't dare to act rashly. It was a joke. This person's cultivation was unfathomable. If he really made a move, his side would definitely not gain any advantage. With him here, it was impossible to kill that human boy. The old drunkard took a sip of wine and said, Little tiger, go back. That's enough for today. Senior, you should know that covenant, right? Aren't you afraid of being ganged up on? Heavenly King Tiger wasn't afraid that this old drunkard in front of him would kill him. He looked at the old drunkard and said, I don't know any covenant. I only know that you can't kill him. That's enough for you all today. I won't make things difficult for you. You yourselves know what the consequences would be if I really wanted to deal with you all. The old drunkard squinted his eyes, looking at Heavenly King Tiger and his group. Senior, I'll give you face this time. But this kid killed the boar. I will settle accounts with him sooner or later. I hope Senior can always stay by his side. Don't let me catch an opportunity. Heavenly King Tiger snorted coldly, turned around, and waved his hand. The demon beast horde began to retreat. Boss, are we just leaving like this? Violent Ape said. At this moment, Heavenly King Tiger was full of anger and glared at Violent Ape, saying, If you're not afraid of death, then stay behind. Although Violent Ape was hot-tempered, he wasn't as foolish as the boar. He awkwardly scratched his head. Meanwhile, Poisonous Charm Spider's eyes twinkled as she glanced lightly at Yang Lei. Whoops. Whoops. Seeing Heavenly King Tiger and his group leave, everyone burst into cheers. After all, no one wanted war. Fighting these demon beasts was a life-and-death struggle, no one wanted to die. Elder Lin, why are you here? Yang Lei looked at the old drunkard and said. Young master, wasn't I worried about you? If something happened to young master, where would this old drunkard find such good wine, the old drunkard said. Yang Wudi and the others were shocked. When did Yang Lei get such a terrifyingly cultivated servant? This was truly unbelievable. Yang Lei's secrets were growing, becoming more and more mysterious. He never expected him to actually be able to kill a martial god stage 3 demon beast. This was extremely terrifying. Yang Wudi clearly understood that he absolutely couldn't defeat a martial god, and even Yang Yu probably couldn't. And Elder Channy and the Xuanji sect members were also shocked. Who was this person, with such terrifying cultivation? Could he be an old master from some sect? Everyone had different thoughts. At this moment, Yang Yu looked at Yang Lei, his eyes flickering. Yang family grand courtyard. Little Lei, who was that senior? As soon as they returned to the family, Yang Wudi couldn't wait to ask about the old drunkard. After all, this was someone who could easily force back even the martial god great perfection heavenly king tiger. What kind of existence was that? Yang Lei shook his head and said, I'm not clear about Elder Lin's specific background. It's just because Elder Lin drank a jar of my fine wine, he decided to stay. He only asked me to give him wine in the future. Yang Wudi and the others looked at each other, never expecting such an answer. However, Yang Wudi and the others didn't ask further, because they knew that if Yang Lei didn't want to say, asking more would be bad. Moreover, this was very likely a message from that senior. If they pressed on, it might displease that senior, which would be more trouble than it was worth. After all, as long as that senior had no ill intentions, that was enough. They didn't need to worry about anything else. Returning to his room, Yang Lei opened the system. This time, the harvest was considerable. Although the divine beast boar only dropped 2 items, one was the 9-test rake, and the other was the 3 tastes true water. Appraisal technique. 9-test rake, weapon of the ancient martial artist Zhu Wu. Yang Lei remembered Zhu Beiji from Journey to the West. His weapon was also a 9-toothed rake, which was an extraordinary weapon. Legend has it that Zhu Beiji was a disciple of the Chan School's 12 Golden Immortals true person Huang Long, but whether that was true was unknown. However, his other identity was well known, he was the heavenly marshal Tianpeng of the heavenly court. How could someone who could become a marshal in the heavenly court be a simple individual? However, whether this was related to Zhu Wu or if this 9-test rake was that particular weapon, was unknown. But Yang Lei thought highly of this 9-test rake. Of course, even though he thought highly of it, Yang Lei didn't want to use it. This 9-test rake, though powerful, was too unsuitable for him. Imagine a handsome young master using a 9-test rake as a weapon, how awkward would that look? Therefore, for Yang Lei, even if this 9-test rake was more powerful, he wouldn't accept it as his master and use it. And the 3 tastes true water was an extraordinary spiritual item. 3 tastes true water, one of the 5 great spiritual waters in heaven and earth. It contains enormous energy and is of great help to water attribute martial artists. It can enhance the root bone of water attribute martial artists and cleanse their meridians and marrow. If a water attribute martial god great perfection realm martial artist obtained the 3 tastes true water, they could definitely break through the martial god realm and enter a higher realm. Of course, what made Yang Lei most happy was the upgrade of his wind concealing blade's grade. Wind concealing blade, wind attribute supreme grade spirit artifact. Increases attack speed by 30%, attack power by 35%. 1% chance to trigger an instant kill. Today, the attributes of the wind concealing blade could be said to have greatly increased, especially the instant kill chance reaching 1%. This meant that for every 100 slashes he made, 1 slash would trigger an instant kill. How terrifying a situation was this? This made Yang Lei wonder if he should cultivate a fast blade technique. If he could unleash 100 slashes in 1 second, then no matter how powerful the opponent was, he would still have an advantage. Of course, Yang Lei clearly understood that unleashing so many slashes in 1 second was too difficult, beyond his current realm. Moreover, if he truly encountered a super expert, would they give him this chance? The answer was naturally no. In a battle between experts, victory and defeat were decided in an instant. Furthermore, Yang Lei wasn't sure if his wind concealing blade's instant kill could be effective against those law practitioners. Relying on this instant kill was not as good as improving his own strength, that was the right path. Someone actually dared to break into the array formation? Truly seeking death. In his courtyard, Yang Lei's eyes narrowed slightly, and he snorted coldly. It was already midnight. The person who came at this hour clearly had malicious intentions. He was probably here to assassinate him. Last time, one of the 3 Heavenly Star Tower assassins escaped. As for whether it was that same person, Yang Lei wasn't clear. Of course, Yang Lei speculated that this time the person causing trouble for him was very likely a demon beast, because his killing of the boar had greatly displeased Heavenly King Tiger, and they considered him a genius, a great threat to demon beasts. In fact, that was indeed the case. He possessed the all-powerful cultivation system. Killing demon beasts to level up was inevitable. In the future, the number of demon beasts he killed would probably not be small. Therefore, they would very likely eliminate him, doing their best to prevent the emergence of super experts among human martial artists. Any martial artist with potential, they would try their best to eliminate. Of course, wasn't it the same for human experts? Not only between humans and demon beasts, but even among human martial artists, major sects also competed. Similarly, the 7 great immortal sects would fight fiercely over a talented disciple, even preferring to destroy them than let their opponents obtain them. Therefore, Yang Lei clearly understood that his situation was extremely dangerous. Because he had publicly killed the boar, he was not only noticed by powerful demon beasts but also by other great immortal sections. He was a member of Xuanji sect, and Xuanji sect's sworn enemy, Xiantian sect, would naturally pay attention to him. If there was an opportunity, they probably wouldn't let him off. However, currently being in his own home, Yang Lei wasn't worried. Not only did he have array formation protection, but he also had the old drunkard. Even if a martial god great perfection expert came, they wouldn't gain any advantage. Through the 9 extreme profound lightning array, Yang Lei could sense that the aura of the person who intruded into the array was restrained, clearly indicating that their cultivation had reached a very high realm, at least martial saint great perfection, and very likely even higher. At this moment, outside Xixing residence, within the grand array, a man inside the array formation looked furious. The longsword in his hand danced, and countless lightning bolts fell, putting him in a difficult position. Damn it! This damned brat actually set up an array formation outside his house. It's truly disgusting. Array core, where exactly is this damned array core? The man muttered to himself while dodging the profound lightning strikes. Although this profound lightning was powerful, it didn't cause him much trouble, at most just a bit annoying. Yang Lei was surprised. This person's cultivation was too terrifying. Being able to easily deal with the simplified version of the level 9 profound lightning great array like this, his cultivation definitely wasn't in the martial saint realm, at least, he had reached the martial god level. Do I have to forcefully break through? The man frowned. But Yang Lei was startled. This guy actually said he wanted to forcefully break through, clearly indicating that this person's cultivation was definitely not low. Yang Lei got up from his room and walked into the courtyard. Hell blazing fire, break for me. The man raised both hands, and a black flame flower appeared in his hand. Yang Lei could clearly feel the enormous energy within it. Boom! Such a terrifying attack immediately shattered the 9 extreme profound lightning array that Yang Lei had set up. Appraisal technique. Blazing fire, blazing flame beast, martial god stage 7 cultivation. A fire attribute divine beast. Yang Lei frowned. This guy was definitely here to kill him. Martial god mid-stage, he wasn't confident in dealing with him now. Although his heavenly blade first form cooldown had reset, unless he triggered an instant kill, he was definitely not his opponent. Was instant kill so easily triggered? It only had a 1% chance. Oh, brat, you're actually here. Good then, this divine beast doesn't want to waste any more time. Brat, prepare to die. Blazing fire saw Yang Lei, was startled at first, then shouted loudly. Kill me? Why do you want to kill me? We've never met before. Do we have any enmity between us? Yang Lei's mind raced, thinking about how to drive this guy away. However, Yang Lei was very puzzled. With such a huge commotion, couldn't the old drunkard sense it? That was impossible. He used true eagle eye. Yang Lei discovered the old drunkard's whereabouts. The old drunkard was not far away, sitting on a large tree. Yang Lei breathed a sigh of relief. Although he didn't know why the old drunkard didn't come out, Yang Lei was certain that if the old drunkard came out, this fire attribute divine beast would be completely unable to resist, he would only be able to flee. We've never met, and we have no enmity. In fact, I even admire you for being able to kill that fat pig boar. Blazing Fire shook his head and said. Then why do you want to kill me? Are you an assassin from Heavenly Star Tower? Yang Lei intentionally asked that. Since this guy was a divine beast, he naturally couldn't be an assassin from Heavenly Star Tower. Moreover, with the old drunkard nearby, Yang Lei felt at ease. He believed that the old drunkard wouldn't let him be in danger. After all, he could even block a terrifying attack from a martial god great perfection expert. This divine beast was merely martial god stage 7, much weaker. Heavenly Star Tower? Blazing Fire shook his head. No, I am a divine beast, the blazing flame beast. I am ordered by boss Heavenly King Tiger to kill you. Because you are human, you must die. Are you ready? I'm about to make my move. If you have any last words, say them quickly, I'm in a hurry. This guy was a bit foolish, Yang Lei couldn't help but think. He wondered if he could subdue this guy. If he could subdue him, his strength would greatly increase. By then, he wouldn't need to rely on that cheap master and Elder Gu when entering Xuanji sect. Suddenly, a flash of inspiration appeared in Yang Lei's mind. Slave contract card. That's right, it was a slave contract card. This slave contract card could help him subdue this blazing flame divine beast. Currently, his cultivation was at the martial emperor realm, while that divine beast was at the martial god realm. As such, his success rate using the slave contract card was only 25%. That was a 1/4 chance of success. Should he try it? This slave contract card was very precious, he only had 3 of them in total. Moreover, it was possible that even if he used all 3, it might not necessarily succeed. To use or not to use? Brat, are you going to speak or not? At this moment, Blazing Fire was already impatient. Use it. Yang Lei decided to use it. No matter what, he had to try once. If it succeeded, it would be as if he had infiltrated the enemy's interior. This would make resolving the Yen Mountain Demon Beast Rampage quest much easier. Ding, does the player wish to use a slave contract card? Use. Ding, slave contract card subjugation failed. It failed. The first failure made Yang Lei's heart ache. He only had 3 in total, and each use meant 1 less. They were very precious, even with points, he couldn't exchange for them. Since he had already used 1, he had 2 left. Whether it succeeded or not, he had to use them. He hoped his luck would be a little better, and one of these 2 would succeed. Ding, do you wish to use a slave contract card? Use. Then a strong light appeared, and this strong light instantly pierced into Blazing Fire's glabella. Immediately after, the system's prompt sounded. Ding, congratulations to the player. Slave contract card subjugation successful. The Martial God Stage 7 Blazing Flame Divine Beast has become your demon pet. It succeeded. He didn't expect it to succeed on the second slave contract card. Yang Lei originally thought he would have to wait until the 3rd card to succeed. This was an unexpected joy. 2 contract cards, and he obtained a divine beast, and it was a stage 7 divine beast. This was truly too powerful. The key was that this divine beast could infiltrate the enemy's interior and act as an inside agent for him. If Heavenly King Tiger attacked him again, and Blazing Fire launched a sneak attack from the side, then it was very likely to succeed in one fell swoop. Even if he couldn't kill Heavenly King Tiger, he could severely injure him. Master. Seeing the previously ferocious divine beast Blazing Fire now obediently standing aside, Yang Lei was immensely pleased. He actually had a martial god mid-stage divine beast as a slave. With this, he was confident in dealing with Heavenly Star Tower. Before, Yang Lei had also obtained the capturing technique, but its success rate was too low. When he captured Little Wolf before, he had put in a lot of effort. Compared to the capturing technique, this slave contract card had a much higher success rate. Ding, because the player subjugated a martial god stage 7 divine beast, the system rewards vegetation communication art, beast communication art, and myriad things communication art. Ding, because the player obtained a 3rd demon pet, the demon pet space has been opened. Yang Lei was stunned. It actually rewarded communication arts. For Yang Lei, this was quite a good reward. Before, Yang Lei had wanted to exchange for the 3 communication arts. If he were to exchange for them now, it would cost not just a little, but at least several hundred million points. Ding, does the player wish to learn beast communication art? Learn. As soon as he spoke, Yang Lei felt something new in his mind. He seemed to be able to understand the language of any animal. Ding, congratulations to the player for learning beast communication art. Ding, does the player wish to learn vegetation communication art? Learn. Ding, congratulations to the player for learning vegetation communication art. Ding, does the player wish to learn myriad things communication art? Learn. Since he had obtained it, there was no reason not to learn it. Ding, congratulations to the player for learning myriad things communication art. Ding, because the player learned myriad things communication art, an S-level quest has been triggered, save the spirit of all things. Quest reward, immortal grade cultivation technique, Supreme Wood Emperor secret art. No penalty for quest failure. Hiss. Yang Lei couldn't believe his ears. Another S-level quest, and the quest reward was an immortal grade Supreme Wood Emperor secret art. This was an immortal grade cultivation technique. Moreover, this cultivation technique, judging by its name, was definitely not ordinary. Based on the grade of weapons and equipment, immortal artifacts were above divine artifacts. So, this immortal grade cultivation technique must be superior to divine grade cultivation techniques. Furthermore, this Supreme Wood Emperor secret art was an S-level quest reward, which was enough to prove that this cultivation technique was definitely not simple. Ding, does the player wish to accept the quest? Accept. He definitely had to accept this. Just for that reward, he had to accept it. Ding, player has accepted the quest, save the spirit of all things. Quest duration, 1 year. However, what frustrated Yang Lei was, what exactly was the spirit of all things? He had no clue at all. How was he supposed to save it? At least give some information, right? Master? Oh. Blazing fire made Yang Lei snap out of his thoughts. What does Master want blazing fire to do? Does Master want blazing fire to enter the demon pet space? Blazing fire asked. This actually reminded Yang Lei that he had also opened the demon pet space today, and blazing fire actually proactively requested to enter. Yang Lei then opened the system and checked what the demon pet space was all about. Demon pet space, stage 1. Can be divided into 5 areas, capable of holding 5 demon pets. Grade can be increased. Within the demon pet space, it greatly helps the demon pets in leveling up. The demon pet's cultivation speed is twice that outside. Yang Lei was overjoyed. There were actually 5 areas, and each area could hold 1 demon pet. This meant he could now have 5 demon pets. No, it should be more than that. He already had Baisujan and Little Wolf, and now Blazing Fire. Yang Lei knew very well that a person could at most have 3 demon pets. This was because a person's spiritual power was limited, and demon pets needed to absorb their master's true chi for cultivation. Ordinary people would only have 1 demon pet, and many people wouldn't even sign a demon pet contract. For those who wanted to achieve martial god, or even surpass martial god, having an extra demon pet would mean an extra burden, slowing down their cultivation speed. Therefore, they generally disliked signing demon pet contracts. But these were not problems for Yang Lei at all. Spiritual power. Yang Lei cultivated the Ice Heart secret art, so his spiritual power was much stronger than ordinary people. His martial emperor realm spiritual power was even stronger than that of ordinary martial gods. As for cultivation and leveling up, Yang Lei wasn't worried at all. Because he had the all-powerful cultivation system, as long as he could kill enemies and gain experience points, leveling up was absolutely no problem. Furthermore, with this demon pet space, Yang Lei didn't need to provide spiritual energy to help his demon pets cultivate. Therefore, what was a big problem for others was no problem at all for Yang Lei. The more demon pets, the better. Of course, many people would also sign contracts with demon beasts, but this type of contract was different from a demon pet contract. One type was an equal contract. In this type of contract, demon beasts and human martial artists were equal. Both sides helped each other, and neither side could compel the other. Another type was a life-death contract. This type of contract tightly bound human martial artists and demon beasts. This type of contract also belonged to an equal contract, where life and death were shared. If one party died, the other would also die. Of course, both types of contracts could only be signed once, and if one signed the first type, they couldn't sign the second. Both types of contracts had their own benefits. However, if the demon pet was powerful, they usually signed the second type. But the difficulty of the second type was not small. Generally, demon beasts would not agree. If one forcefully signed it, it was very likely to cause the demon beast to commit suicide, which would be more harm than good, and could very well cost one's own life. Of course, the demon pet contract was different from the other two types. In a demon pet contract, the human martial artist was the dominant party. In other words, the human martial artist was the master. Once the master died, the demon pet would definitely die, but if the demon pet died, the master would have no problems. Therefore, the demon pet contract was the most common among the three types of contracts, with the first type, equal contract, being the most common, and the life-death contract being the least common. No, you don't need to enter the demon pet space for now. Although Yang Lei didn't know how Blazing Fire knew about the demon pet space, Yang Lei wouldn't let Blazing Fire enter such a cultivation space. Your current mission is to return to Heavenly King Tiger's side, await my command, and also relay all of Heavenly King Tiger's actions to me. Yang Lei's words disappointed Blazing Fire slightly. The information about the demon pet space was transmitted into his mind at the instant Yang Lei's contract card succeeded. Yes, Master. Although he wanted to enter the demon pet space to cultivate, he dared not disobey Yang Lei's words. Strictly speaking, Blazing Fire's contract with Yang Lei was even stronger than Baisujian's. As long as he dared to harbor any thought of betrayal, he would suffer unimaginable pain, a pain that came from the soul. After asking Blazing Fire a few things, Yang Lei let him go back. As for how to explain, Blazing Fire would naturally handle it himself. Although Blazing Fire had become his demon pet and was bound by him, he still had his own consciousness, just as before, without any change. As soon as Blazing Fire left, the old drunkard appeared in the courtyard. Problem solved? The old drunkard was somewhat surprised. He hadn't expected Yang Lei to be completely unharmed. He had originally prepared to intervene at any time, but he hadn't expected Yang Lei to resolve it so easily. Elder Lin, when did you come out? Yang Lei was surprised. This old drunkard's sudden appearance truly made him feel helpless, startled for a moment. Not long ago, the old drunkard said. I'm very curious, how did you resolve that blazing flame beast? Yang Lei naturally wouldn't tell him that he had subdued the blazing flame beast. Instead, he fabricated a lie, saying, I told him I could kill him, just like how I killed the boar that day. He believed me and didn't want to die, so he just left. Moreover, I also told him that you, Elder Lin, were nearby, and even if I didn't use that move, he wouldn't have had a chance. The old drunkard was speechless upon hearing this. He remembered that Blazing Fire had indeed glanced at him earlier. Could it be that he truly noticed him only after he left? That was possible. However, Elder Lin, you stood by and watched without intervening sooner. If that guy hadn't believed my words and attacked in a rage, wouldn't I, young master, have been finished? So originally, I even wanted to prepare other fine wines for you, Elder Lin. Although they couldn't compare to Drunken Life, Dream Death Wine, they wouldn't be far off. But now it seems, Elder Lin doesn't need them. Yang Lei knew that the old drunkard loved wine like his life, and tempting him with fine wine would absolutely hit the mark. Oh. What good wine? As soon as he heard of good wine, the old drunkard's eyes widened. There's none now, Yang Lei shook his head and said. Elder Lin, Duanrong has something to discuss with me. I'm going over there now. You rest. After saying that, he ignored the old drunkard's expression and turned to leave. Don't, young master, please wait a moment. The reason I didn't come out was that I wanted young master to temper himself a bit. If young master was truly in danger, I would definitely have intervened. Young master, you can't be like this, But Yang Lei didn't look back and continued walking. Thinking of the fine wine Yang Lei had prepared for him, the old drunkard felt like a cat scratching his heart. Fine wine. Since Yang Lei said it was fine wine, it must be true. The old drunkard was full of regret. If he had appeared earlier, wouldn't such fine wine have been his? Looking at Yang Lei's retreating back, the old drunkard couldn't help but beat his chest and stomp his feet. In his heart, Yang Lei was secretly pleased, thinking, old drunkard, I just want to tempt your craving for wine. Who told you not to come out sooner? Walking to Duanrong's room, Yang Lei knocked on the door. Coming. Duanrong opened the door. Entering the room, Yang Lei found that Duanrong's room was very warmly decorated, with a feminine touch. Have a seat. Yang Lei naturally didn't stand on ceremony, casually sat down, and looked at Duanrong, saying, "What do you need me for?" I. Duanrong hesitated slightly. "Just say what you need to say, don't hem and haw," Yang Lei said. Duanrong took a deep breath, thinking that since he would be her husband in the future, it was only right to ask him for some things. So she raised her head, stared intently at Yang Lei, and said, "Yang Lei, did you obtain a martial god-level demon core from the demon beast rampage battle yesterday?"